Chapter 596. After getting injured, no. I won't. Although Tang Yun said that, she started to worry. Xinwen's words made her feel embarrassed, but it wasn't without reason. And she had to find a chance to ask Lin Yi about it. Speaking of tigress, who's more tigress than you? My tigress is different from hers. How should I put it? Although Lu Xinwen's character was very boorish, she was also meticulous. She had a good eye for people. Her tiger is the kind of naive and cute tiger, but I think it's most likely an act. Either she's really like this, very silly, very naive, very pure and ambiguous, or she's very perverted and smart. What nonsense. Tang Yun blushed. Why do I care so much about her? Haven't you heard of this saying? There's no such thing as an unbreakable couple, only a lazy mistress. Xinwen was disappointed. Yun, you have to be careful. All right, I got it. Xinwen's words were clear in Tang Yun's heart, but what could she do? It all depended on Lin Yi's attitude. Tang Yun and Xinwen were sent back to the hospital by Fatty Lai's wife. Tang Yun's head didn't hurt at all. Just like what Lin Yi said, she could remove the bandages in one night. Before they left, Fatty Lai gave Tang Yun a bottle of painkiller. Since Tang Juqing was injured, he used up a lot of painkiller. At the same time, in the private room behind the floating cloud bar, Zhao Qibing and Uncle Zhu were both lying on the bed. Zhao Qibing had woken up and was crying in pain. Uncle Zhu, on the other hand, closed his eyes to heal himself. Master Bing, bear with it, Yao Wang is on the way, he should be here soon. Zihua sighed, he didn't expect Lin Yi to be this ruthless. In the past, Zihua thought that he was a big shot in Songshan, everyone had to give him face, but after meeting Lin Yi, he realized that he was nothing in Lin Yi's eyes. Lin Yi didn't even look at him. Damn it! Where did this Lin Yi come from? How dare you break my leg? What did my father say? Did you send anyone to deal with him? Qibing really couldn't swallow this. He had just arrived in Songshan, he hadn't even had a chance to get started, but Lin Yi had already shown his power. Not only did Lin Yi topple his skyscraper, he even broke his legs. How was he going to survive in Songshan in the future? If he didn't kill Lin Yi, he wouldn't have the face to stay in Songshan anymore. The head of the house is already investigating Lin Yi's identity. Zihua smiled bitterly. But I heard from Uncle Zhu that Lin Yi's a mystic. I'm afraid he's quite a high position even in the boss place. Mystic class. Lin Yi is a mystic. Zhao Qibing froze. He had fainted earlier, so he didn't know what Uncle Zhu was talking about. Now that he heard the news, he was shocked as well. He didn't ask about Uncle Zhu's injuries because his legs were hurting too. He didn't have the time to care about others. He thought that Uncle Zhu's injuries were caused by a bulldozer or a trenching machine, so he didn't think too much about it. Yes, mystic early phase. At this moment, Uncle Zhu, who had his eyes closed, spoke. Master Bing, Lin Yi is also heavily injured. If he doesn't have any treasures to nourish himself, even if he doesn't die, he won't have any strength left. It depends on what he chooses. Does he want to sacrifice his life to preserve his strength, or does he want to become a normal person? Oh. Does that mean that if Lin Yi doesn't have any treasures to nourish himself, now would be the best time to deal with him? And now that he's injured, he doesn't have the strength of a mystic anymore. Zihua was a cunning man. He understood what Uncle Zhu was trying to say. Haha, his situation isn't much better than mine. Even with treasures and a master like Yao Wang to heal him, he'll need at least half a year to recover to his peak, and that's the ideal situation. Uncle Zhu said. In fact, if there's a small mistake, or if there's a lack of treasures, he won't be able to recover so quickly. It's hard to say if he can even recover to his peak. That's great. We'll deal with him before he recovers, he won't be able to fight back. Sihua had wanted to deal with Lin Yi for a long time, but he hadn't found a way. Now that he had this news, how could he let it go? Most importantly, he wanted to avenge Master Bing. It was killing two birds with one stone. Let's wait for the head's decision. Uncle Zhu was a man who followed the orders of the house. Whether or not to deal with Lin Yi was up to Zhao Guanyin. He was just giving some suggestions. Sihua nodded. Indeed, without Guanyin's order, they couldn't proceed with the next step. They could only wait for Yao Wang to come. Lin Yi drove the car carefully. The miss had a cold expression on her face, and no one knew what she was thinking. Yushu, on the other hand, still had that silly look on her face as she played with her fingers. She didn't seem to notice the strange atmosphere at all. Or maybe she did, but it didn't affect her at all. Yao Yao sis, are you officially going to pursue Shield Bro? Yushu asked after playing with her fingers. Lin Yi sweated. Meng Yao said this in a low voice to Tang Yun. Although Lin Yi's hearing was good, he could pretend that he didn't hear it. But now that Yushu said it out loud, it was a little awkward. The miss wanted to pursue him. Lin Yi didn't believe it. He didn't know what was wrong with her, but Lin Yi didn't think it was a big deal. Ming Yao's expression froze. She glared at Yushu angrily. Then, she calmed down and said in a calm tone, Lin Yi, don't listen to Shu's nonsense. I argued with Tang Yun because I was angry. You are my follower, but you got hurt because of Tang Yun. To be honest, I don't like her. That's why I said it on purpose to piss her off. Don't take it seriously. Ha, I know. I didn't take it seriously. Lin Yi smiled and nodded. This was the miss. Ming Yao's eyes flashed with disappointment. She felt a little bitter in her heart. This was the first time she announced that she wanted to pursue a guy, and he didn't take it seriously. Chapter 597. Chapter 597, Disappointed Miss OK. Lin Yi smiled bitterly and nodded. Was Shu that retarded? How could she be caught again? Oh, you can climb the fence next time if you have nothing to do, Yushu added. Lin Yi almost drove the car into a ditch on the side of the road. From now on, if you do anything intimate with Tang Yun, you have to report to me first. Meng Yao didn't know what she was thinking, but she said this. Ugh. I don't think that's necessary. I have a private life too. Lin Yi blushed. Of course. Meng Yao said firmly. What if you want to have sex with Tang Yun and I'm in danger and you can't stop? So you have to report to me first. Sex. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. I have to report that too. Of course. One is to monitor your private life. Shu and I are pure people, and if your private life is too dirty, I'll have to consider firing you. Meng Yao said with a serious face. Okay. Lin Yi nodded. The miss was angry today and Lin Yi didn't want to piss her off. No matter what, he had to agree first. Then Yao Yao sis, are we still going to have 3P at home? Yushu was disappointed to see Meng Yao backing out. Play what? Meng Yao glared at Yushu. Why are you so willing to play? If you want to play, go play by yourself. I can't play by myself. Yushu said, troubled. Yao Yao sis, you don't keep your words. Alright Shu, let's not talk about this. You're still young and can't play. You can play when you're older, okay? Meng Yao got a headache from Yushu. Oh, okay. You can play with me when I'm older. Yushu finally smiled. Sure. Meng Yao was speechless. Lin Yi could only smile bitterly. He really couldn't interfere in this matter. Is Uncle Chu at home? Lin Yi changed the topic because he really didn't know how to participate in the previous conversation. Daddy's treating you to dinner, and you made him wait for more than 10 hours. Meng Yao pointed out the window. It's almost dawn. Oh, I'm really sorry. I'll explain it to you when we get back. Lin Yi said with a bitter smile. Humph. Meng Yao humphed. Drive faster, there's still a feast at home. Lin Yi didn't say anything as he sped up the car. Meng Yao's Audi S5 was a sports car, and it was the middle of the night. There weren't any cars on the road, so Lin Yi pushed the car to the limit. Ah! Meng Yao didn't react in time. Yushu, on the other hand, was dancing around. Wow, it's so cool, a roller coaster. Meng Yao was speechless. Was Yushu lacking in the fear factor? Why didn't she know the meaning of fear? In the blink of an eye, Lin Yi stopped the car in front of Meng Yao's villa. Pengzhan and Faubert ran out when they heard the sound of the car. Uncle Fu and Pengzhan followed him to Fatty Lai's villa, and after waiting for a while, they called Meng Yao to confirm Lin Yi's condition. Then, they went home to wait. After all, it wasn't appropriate for Pengzhan to wait at Fatty Lai's house. Are you alright? Pengzhan was surprised to see Lin Yi getting down from the driver's seat. Meng Yao said that Lin Yi's condition was very serious, and he even vomited blood. But now, other than the blood stain on Lin Yi's shirt, Lin Yi's face was rosy. It didn't look like he was injured at all. If it wasn't for the blood stain on his shirt, Pengzhan would have thought that Lin Yi wasn't injured at all. Only the blood stain could prove that something had happened. It's fine, I'm a doctor myself. Lin Yi shrugged. Thank you for your concern, Uncle Chu. Sorry to keep you waiting. It's fine as long as you're fine. Pengzhan said sincerely. I was so worried. Although Elder Lin asked you to help House Chu, if something really happened to you, how would I explain it to Elder Lin? I was too reckless this time. I've caused trouble for Uncle Chu, Lin Yi said embarrassedly. Although Lin Yi said that, he didn't guarantee that it wouldn't happen again. If things went back to before he went to find Xiao Qibing, Lin Yi would still do the same thing. It's fine. The food is ready. It's just a little cold. Let's have a drink to calm you down. At the same time, we'll thank you for saving Yao Yao and Shu, Pengzhan said. The group entered the villa. Lin Yi took a shower and changed into a casual outfit. Faubert had already heated up the food. Meng Yao and Yushu sat in the dining room. Pengzhan pulled Lin Yi over when he saw Lin Yi coming out. Meng Yao sat at the dining table in a daze. She thought back to her abnormal behavior today. Was this still her? She fought with Tang Yun for a man. She even proudly announced that she was going to pursue Lin Yi. How was this possible? This was impossible. She must be dreaming. But Meng Yao pinched herself. She realized that she wasn't in a dream. She was in reality. Meng Yao blushed as she thought back to what had happened. She was going to pursue Lin Yi. Lin Yi was more likely to pursue her. If he were to pursue her, would she agree? Should she reject him directly or give him a chance? Meng Yao was a little excited, but shy at the same time. She didn't know what to do. Today's events had far exceeded the Miss' mental endurance. Everything she'd said and done was completely out of anger, and she didn't think it through. Meng Yao blushed as she thought back to it. Yao Yao, Shu, this is the first drink. You two toast to Lin Yi. Thank him for saving you. Pengzhan said to the two after sitting down. Oh, okay. Yushu raised her drink. Meng Yao, on the other hand, was still in a daze. She didn't seem to hear what Pingzhan said. Yao Yao. Pingzhan frowned. What was wrong with his daughter? She had been absent-minded since a while ago. He didn't know what she was thinking about. Ah. Daddy, what's wrong? What's the matter? Meng Yao snapped out of her daze and looked at Pingzhan, not sure what was going on. You and Shu toast to Lin Yi. Thank him for saving you. Pingzhan repeated himself. It was late, after all. Meng Yao hadn't slept the whole night. It was normal for her to be spaced out. Chapter 598. The miss has something on her mind, shield bro. Thank you for saving me and Yao Yao sis. If Yao Yao sis wants to repay me with her body, I'm fine with it. Yushu blinked innocently. Shu, my daddy is here. What are you talking about? Meng Yao was shocked. She glared at Yushu as if someone stepped on her tail. Yushu stuck her tongue out. She'd been joking a lot lately, and hadn't been paying attention today. Meng Yao's reminder reminded her that Pingzhan was here as well. She'd almost said buy one get one free, that would have been so embarrassing. Ha! Pingzhan smiled faintly but didn't show anything. He said, with Shu at home to liven up the atmosphere, it won't be lonely. Yao Yao, it's your turn. Lin Yi saved her. How could Meng Yao not be grateful? Humans weren't plants or trees, so they couldn't be emotionless. But asking the miss to toast Lin Yi made her a little embarrassed. She was the one who chased Lin Yi out, didn't she? Although she had reluctantly accepted the fact that he was living with her, wouldn't it mean that she was giving in to him if she toasted him? How could she treat him in the future? However, her daddy was staring at her. Meng Yao had no choice but to raise her glass. She didn't toast Lin Yi. Instead, she poured herself a cup and drank it. Thank you. Lin Yi didn't mind. Miss was cold on the outside but warm on the inside. That was her personality. He raised his glass and smiled. It's what I should do. Meng Yao wasn't happy looking at Lin Yi's calm face. I'm the miss, okay? I'm your employer. Why don't you look happy when I'm toasting you? When have I ever toasted another guy? However, she couldn't say it out loud. She could only sulk and list out all of Lin Yi's flaws. She cursed Lin Yi in her heart. Lin Yi, stupid Lin Yi. Can't you treat me a little better? Am I worse than Tang Yun? Even if I'm a little worse than her, what about Yushu? The two of us together are not attractive. You just had to go out and flirt with other women. You're really despicable. At first, Meng Yao didn't think that she had any feelings for Lin Yi. She thought that she was angry because Lin Yi ignored her and Shu. This was something a proud miss couldn't tolerate. Why couldn't the two of us compare to Tang Yun? Are you blind or are we really not attractive? Yao Yao, how's Lil Yi doing in school? He's at transfer school. If he can't catch up, you and Shu can help him out. Pingzhan started chatting casually. Ah. What? Meng Yao was cursing Lin Yi in her heart when she saw her father looking at her. It seemed like he was asking her a question, but she didn't hear it clearly. Ha, Yao Yao, why are you always absent-minded? What are you thinking about? Pingzhan asked with a smile. Nothing. I'm not thinking about anything. Meng Yao blushed. Oh, Uncle Chu, I know what Yao Yao sis is thinking about. Yushu reached out her hand like a student. Oh. Shu, tell me, what is Yao Yao thinking about? Pingzhan was in a good mood today. He smiled and asked Yushu. Yao Yao sis is thinking about love. Yushu said with a serious face. Thinking about love. Pingzhan paused and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Why is Yao Yao thinking about love? Shoo! I'll kill you. Meng Yao didn't want to admit that Yushu had seen through her thoughts, so she was getting angry. Besides, she wasn't thinking about love. She just wanted Lin Yi to pay more attention to her. How could this be considered as thinking about love? Oh, Yao Yao sis is murdering someone. Yushu ran away in fear. Ha! Pingzhan was already used to the bickering between the two girls. The two had been fighting since they were young, and Yushu didn't dare to say anything at all. Pingzhan knew her personality very well. Lin Yi shook his head with a bitter smile. Yushu was always like this no matter what situation she was in. Meng Yao, naturally, couldn't really get up and chase after Yushu. Yushu had always been this impulsive, so it wasn't a big deal. Meng Yao, on the other hand, was much more mature. How could she get up and leave when her daddy was still at the banquet? Daddy, don't listen to Shu's nonsense. She's the one who's thinking about love. Meng Yao was afraid that her father would misunderstand and explained with a blush. Pingzhan was slightly taken aback. It would have been fine if Meng Yao didn't explain, but this explanation made Pingzhan suspicious. This kind of thing, if Yushu was joking, Meng Yao wouldn't explain it according to her personality. But today, she explained it, and even blushed. This made Pingzhan feel that something was wrong, but he didn't plan to ask about it at the banquet. He wanted to talk about it in private later. Right, I heard that one of Zhong Pingliang's kidneys was cut off. What happened? Does it have anything to do with you? Pingzhan changed the topic to Zhong Pingliang. Zhong Fabai's son losing a kidney was a big deal. Although Zhong Fabai didn't want to announce it, everyone with a bit of background in Songshan had heard about it. They were all sighing in their hearts. What kind of person did Zhong Pingliang offend to be treated this way? No, but this should be done by Jiang Wen. Lin Yi told Jiang Wen about Zhong Pingliang kidnapping Meng Yao, and the second day, Zhong Pingliang's kidney was cut off. This was undoubtedly done by Jiang Wen. But what Lin Yi didn't expect was why Jiang Wen would choose to cut off one of Zhong Pingliang's kidneys. Thinking back to the organ smuggling organization that Ling Shan mentioned a few days ago, and the kidney trafficking organization that he personally destroyed, Lin Yi suspected that Jiang Wen had something to do with this organization. Jiang Wen. Pingzhan paused, but nodded, that's possible. Uncle Chu, what's the background of this Jiang Wen? He seems to have some connection with your family. Lin Yi asked. Housen used to be a powerful family in Songshan. Their business was very big, and our two families had some business dealings. We have a good relationship. Jiang Wen is the youngest son of Housen, and he had a good relationship with Yao Yao back then. Pingzhan said they were childhood friends. Who's childhood friends with him? Meng Yao suddenly interrupted, as if she was worried that people would misunderstand. Chapter 599. Can't chase him away, he's just a childhood friend. Pingzhan looked at his daughter deeply before continuing with a smile, but I heard that Housen found a powerful backer after that, and the whole family moved to Donghai. Housen's business here has been taken care of by the eldest son of Housen. Jiang Wen left the country and only came back recently. Meng Yao glared at Lin Yi. This guy didn't seem to care about her at all. He didn't seem to care about whether she and Jiang Wen were childhood friends or not. Wasn't he worried about her at all? However, Lin Yi's next words disappointed Meng Yao. Lin Yi didn't dwell on the topic of childhood friends. Lin Yi nodded. Uncle Chu, have you heard of a criminal organization that smuggles organs? They're called a kidney trafficking organization by the people. Kidney trafficking organization. Are you suspecting that Jiang Wen has something to do with this organization? Pingzhan frowned, but after Housen moved to Donghai, they started a business that was half black and half white. They changed their business path and accumulated a huge amount of wealth in a few short years. I'm a little suspicious. Otherwise, why would Jiang Wen remove Zhong Pingliang's kidney? Lin Yi said, but this has nothing to do with us. As long as he doesn't disturb us, it's fine. That's right. It's best to stay away from people like this. Pingzhan nodded. Oh right, Yi, how did you get injured this time? I heard from Yao Yao that it was revenge for your classmate. Meng Yao called him earlier, but Pingzhan didn't ask because it wasn't something that could be explained in a few words. He only asked if Lin Yi was alright. After learning that Lin Yi was recovering, Pingzhan came back first. He hadn't known Lin Yi for a long time, but he could tell that Lin Yi was a man with a sense of propriety. Judging from how he handled the bank attack, Guangbua's incident, and Mingyao's kidnapping, Lin Yi was a man with a steady mind. Pingzhan wasn't too worried since Lin Yi didn't go to the hospital and chose to heal on his own, which meant that he had confidence in himself. Meng Yao, on the other hand, was very vague about it, saying that Lin Yi was trying to avenge a female classmate. She didn't know that it was Lin Yi's girlfriend. Oh, I know. Shield Bro broke that Master Bing's leg out of anger because of his beauty. Yushu got really excited when the topic of violence came up. What a shame, I didn't get to see Shield Bro go berserk with my own eyes. Master Bing. Pingzhan, on the other hand, was taken aback as he looked at Lin Yi. The Master Bing Shu mentioned, is it Zhao Qibing? That's him. Lin Yi nodded. How did you piss him off? Pingzhan couldn't help but smile bitterly. This Master Bing isn't simple. I heard that he's the illegitimate son of some powerful person. He's very powerful, even Sihua is his subordinate. Uncle Chu, don't worry. This matter won't involve you. If Zhao Qibing comes looking for you, just tell him to come looking for me. Lin Yi said straightforwardly. What are you talking about? How can I just sit back and do nothing when you're in trouble? Pingzhan said angrily when he saw that Lin Yi misunderstood. Uncle Chu, you've misunderstood. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. What I mean is, if they come looking for me, I have the confidence to deal with them. If they come looking for you, wouldn't I have to deal with them myself? Alright, but I won't just sit back and do nothing. Pingzhan nodded. Evidently, Lin Yi didn't want to continue this topic, so he didn't say anything else. After dinner, Lin Yi and Faubert went to clean up the tableware. Meng Yao, on the other hand, was called to the room by Pingzhan. After all, the father and daughter hadn't seen each other for a while. There must be some secrets that needed to be said. Yao Yao, are you busy with your studies? Pingzhan sat on the sofa and asked casually. It's alright, Daddy. You know that I'm not that kind of nerd. Studying with Shu isn't stressful at all. It's just that I've been doing a little more exercises lately. Meng Yao was extremely smart, and so was Yushu. The two of them passed through the 12th grade without any stress. That's good. Although we can pay for it if you want to go to a university, it's different if you go there yourself. Pingzhan nodded. Yeah, I know. I don't want people to look down on me because of my family, Meng Yao said proudly. From this, it could be seen that the miss was a good person. She might be a little proud, but she was different from the other rich kids. Some rich kids were afraid that people wouldn't know about their family's wealth and power, and that they couldn't get into a university. Not only were they not ashamed of it, they were even proud of it. They would show off their family's power to others whenever they had time. Right, how's Lin Yi? He's by your side, going to school and living with you. Is he satisfied? Pingzhan asked casually. Lin Yi. Meng Yao gritted her teeth at the mention of Lin Yi. Daddy, this person is too hateful. Hateful? How is he hateful? Pingzhan paused. He's a womanizer. He's my follower, he should be by my side all the time, but he got himself a girlfriend in school, causing a huge uproar. Meng Yao said hatefully. This kind of person isn't suitable to be a follower. His private life is a mess. Right, he just went to avenge his girlfriend. This kind of follower who doesn't listen to orders is a heinous crime. Ah. That's hateful. Ping Zhan couldn't help but shake his head. It looks like this Lin Yi really is a hateful person. Yeah, Daddy, you think so too. Meng Yao couldn't help but be happy that her father was on her side. Yeah, you're right. Ping Zhan nodded and said solemnly, if that's the case, I'll fire him now. How can I let someone as despicable as him stay here without worry? I'll go right now. Yao Yao, wait for Daddy. With that, Ping Zhan stood up and walked towards the door. Chapter 600. For Shu's sake, no. Ping Zhan couldn't help but smile, but when he turned back, his expression turned into one of surprise. What's wrong with you again? Didn't you say that he's a sinner? How can you not fire a person like that? Ugh. Because. That's right, that Lin Yi has a hard time finding a job, right? Maybe I'll just bear with it for a bit. Meng Yao found an excuse. Right, she pitied Lin Yi, so she didn't want to fire him. That's not a good idea, is it? I don't want my daughter to suffer. Ping Zhan said with a wave of his hand. Besides, there seems to be a lot of people looking for Lin Yi. It wasn't easy for me to hire him, so don't worry about him. I'll fire him and get you a new follower tomorrow. That's not okay either. Meng Yao said, panicking. Not okay either. Then why? Ping Zhan looked at his daughter, confused. Ugh. Because. That's right, this Lin Yi guy is a bit of a jerk, but Shu and I are pretty familiar with him now. Meng Yao finally thought of an excuse. Daddy, you know that I don't like strangers coming to my house. It's hard for me to accept a stranger. Besides, Lin Yi's clean, he wouldn't steal anything. I wouldn't be at ease if it were someone I don't know. Yao Yao, your worries aren't unreasonable. Ping Zhan said with a smile. But it's fine, I've already thought of a good candidate. Faubert has a junior who used to be a bodyguard, but his employer left the country and he doesn't have much to do. Faubert introduced him to me, so he's a reliable guy. No problem. I see. That's not good, is it? Meng Yao said instinctively. Why is it not good? Ping Zhan asked. Because. That's right, didn't I say that although I know this person well, I'm very repulsed by strangers. When Lin Yi first came, I couldn't get used to it for a while. What if I'm not used to the sudden change? It'll affect my studies. Meng Yao said. You don't have to worry about that. Aren't you familiar with Faubert? Let Faubert protect you, and let his juniors protect me. Ping Zhan smiled. You should be familiar with Faubert, right? You won't reject it, right? He watched you grow up. Ugh. Faubert. Meng Yao felt that Faubert was acceptable, but she didn't know why she didn't want Lin Yi to leave. I think Lin Yi is better. Oh. Why was it still him? Why was that? Didn't you say he was annoying? Ping Zhan was even more confused. Man. Actually. It's because that Shu has a crush on Lin Yi. Shu would be sad if Lin Yi left. Meng Yao thought. She didn't want Lin Yi to leave because of that damned girl, Yushu. It wasn't a secret that she had a crush on Lin Yi. Wah. Ping Zhan's eyes widened. He had expected some reasons, but he didn't think that Meng Yao would come up with this one. Shu had a crush on Lin Yi. Why was it Shu? Wasn't it Yao Yao? No one knew a daughter better than a father. Ping Zhan watched Meng Yao grow up, and he could see the changes in her and her attitude towards Lin Yi. His instincts told him that his daughter had fallen in love with Lin Yi, but he wasn't too sure. So he decided to talk to his daughter privately and see what she was thinking. Firing Lin Yi was just an excuse to test his daughter's feelings, but Meng Yao's reasons were getting more and more reasonable. In the end, it even involved Shu. Ping Zhan was a little confused. Shu has a crush on Lin Yi. Doesn't Lin Yi have a girlfriend already? Ping Zhan asked. That. Yeah, that's why I say that Lin Yi is the annoying one. He has a girl as beautiful as Shu at home, but he still goes out and flirts with other girls. Meng Yao said, Dad, don't you think he's annoying? That's true, Ping Zhan couldn't help but find it funny. This was the reason why his daughter was scolding Lin Yi. That's why, for Shu's sake, I'll endure it. Don't fire him, Meng Yao said. But, Lin Yi has a girlfriend already, what about Shu? Ping Zhan asked curiously. In fact, he wanted to see his daughter's attitude. She's always thinking about being someone else's mistress, so it shouldn't be a big problem. Meng Yao said. Mistress? Ping Zhan shook his head, really? I don't know, she's always acting like a lunatic, I don't know if it's real or not. Meng Yao shook her head, Dad, don't worry about this, let Shu handle it herself. Alright, I won't worry about it then. Ping Zhan smiled and stood up, alright, it's late, I'll leave first. You guys rest early. Although it's a weekend tomorrow, don't stay up late. Okay. Meng Yao breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, she wouldn't fire Lin Yi. Although it was a weekend tomorrow, Ping Zhan still had work to do, so he left with Faubert first. Lin Yi also cleaned up the cutlery, and just when he was free, his phone rang. Lin Yi took out his phone and looked at it. It was Tang Yun. Hello, Tang Yun, Lin Yi picked up the phone, you're back at the hospital? Yeah, not long ago. Mom let me eat something, and now she's with Dad, so I'm calling you. Tang Yun's voice was very gentle, like a wife missing her husband. I'll go see you tomorrow, the wound on your head should be almost healed, Lin Yi smiled. Okay. Tang Yun touched her forehead, and it didn't hurt at all. It seemed like it was working. It's so late, why aren't you resting? What's the matter, calling me? Lin Yi was a bit confused. In the past, Tang Yun wouldn't take the initiative to call him if there wasn't anything. Are you at Meng Yao's house? Tang Yun hesitated and asked. Yeah, I'm here, Lin Yi didn't hide and told the truth. Oh. Tang Yun actually knew that Lin Yi was at Meng Yao's house, but she couldn't help but want to confirm it. Chapter 601. Abnormal, yeah. I believe you. Tang Yun didn't feel good about it, but she chose to believe in Lin Yi. If Lin Yi really did have something going on with them, then there was no point in stopping him. If there wasn't anything going on, then what was she thinking about? I'll tell you the details when we meet tomorrow, it's not convenient to talk on the phone today. You should rest early. Lin Yi saw Yushu tiptoeing over as he spoke. Her footsteps were light, but how could she hide from Lin Yi's eyes and ears? Yeah, okay. Tang Yun replied obediently. Before she hung up, she gathered her courage and said, I love you. With that, Tang Yun hung up the phone, embarrassed. Lin Yi paused. He smiled when he saw that the phone was already hung up. It was the first time Tang Yun said something like that, right? Yushu was a little disappointed. She saw that Lin Yi was talking on the phone, so she came over carefully to eavesdrop. She'd be living up to her title of Spy Shu 007, but Lin Yi didn't give her a chance. He hung up the phone quickly. Meng Yao had just sent Ping Zhan and Faubert off. She closed the door and came back to see Lin Yi hanging up the phone. Who were you calling? Meng Yao wasn't someone who liked to poke her nose into other people's business, but she didn't know why she asked. Tang Yun. Lin Yi answered straightforwardly. Oh, what did you guys talk about? Meng Yao asked casually. Ah. Lin Yi paused. The miss cared about what he said to Tang Yun. Ugh. Don't misunderstand. Meng Yao blushed when she saw Lin Yi's expression. What I mean is, we're in a critical situation right now. There are people who want to do something to me, and there are people who want to do something to you. I just want to confirm if it's really Tang Yun on the phone. What if it's a bad guy pretending to be Tang Yun? Meng Yao couldn't even speak coherently in her panic. Lin Yi was even more stunned. Did the eldest miss say these words? Why did it sound like what Yushu said? Could it be that the two of them had been together for too long and were assimilated? However, he still said, she didn't say anything. She just said that she was in the hospital. Oh. Meng Yao listened to Lin Yi and didn't continue asking. If Tang Yun says anything suspicious in the future, you have to tell me in advance. Maybe there's some conspiracy behind it. For example, if Tang Yun wanted to have sex with you, don't agree. From what I can see, Tang Yun is a very pure girl. She can't do something like that. There must be a reason behind it. Meng Yao was shocked by her own words. What the hell was she talking about? It must be because he didn't sleep tonight and was too sleepy, so he started saying some strange things. Lin Yi was a little speechless, but he still nodded. The people tonight were not normal. Yao Wang was indeed Yao Wang. Qibing's legs were quickly reconnected, and the medicine was applied as well. As for his face, Dr. Kang's golden wound medicine was applied, so Yao Wang didn't have to worry about it. Uncle Zhu's situation wasn't so good. Even Yao Wang couldn't help but shake his head after seeing it. Yao bro, how is it? Uncle Zhu could tell that Yao Wang was in a difficult position. Zhu bro, to tell you the truth, the situation isn't good. Yao Wang sighed. You used your full strength to fight with that person. And the other person used his full strength too. That person wanted to continue attacking Master Bing, so I had no choice but to use my full strength. Uncle Zhu smiled bitterly. Yao bro, just try your best. It doesn't matter if you can recover to your peak, it's not a problem for you to stay alive, but as for recovering your strength, it depends on whether the head is willing to use treasures to nourish you. Yao Wang said. If the elixirs keep up, I should be able to recover in half a year or so. But it'll be hard for me to break through again in this lifetime, unless there's some sort of miracle. I don't think about breaking through. It's good enough that I can recover. But why would the head use so many treasures for me? Uncle Zhu didn't think too much about it. He was sent to the common world to follow Master Bing because he had no hope of breaking through. Brother Zhu, you don't have to worry. You got injured because of Master Bing. The head of the house won't mistreat you. Yao Wang said. Cihua has already asked the head of the house. I believe there will be news soon. Indeed, Zhao Guanyin had sent news that Yao Wang could use some of the elixirs in the house to save Uncle Zhu. He did this because Uncle Zhu had saved Qibing's life at a critical moment. If he mistreated Uncle Zhu, who would dare to work for him in the future? Wouldn't that be disappointing? So, Zhao Guanyin naturally wouldn't do something as stupid as killing the donkey when it was no longer of use. The other news was for Zhao Qibing. Cihua ran into Zhao Qibing's room excitedly. Master Bing, good news. Oh. What good news? Zhao Qibing didn't feel much pain anymore. His mind was filled with thoughts of revenge against Lin Yi. He didn't dare to act recklessly since there was no news from his father. Boss, we found out that Lin Yi has nothing to do with any of the hidden houses. After the house sent out the wanted order, no one responded. This means that Lin Yi doesn't belong to any of the hidden houses. Zihua was still used to calling Zhao Guanyin boss instead of head of the house. This was because Zihua was one of House Zhao's business representatives in the common world. He was responsible for providing wealth to House Zhao. Because of his business, Zihua was used to calling Zhao Guanyin boss. Is that so? That's great. Since he doesn't come from any of the hidden houses, there's no pressure to deal with him. Zhao Qibing laughed happily. Finally, we can kill him. Master Bing, don't be too happy yet. Boss said that although he doesn't belong to any of the hidden houses, we shouldn't do anything to him. We should at least investigate his background. Zihua said. For example, if he's alone, if he has other disciples from the same sect or something like that. We can avoid unnecessary trouble if we kill Lin Yi. Chapter 602. Zihua's probing. Yes, Master Bing, I'll go ask Pingzhan about Lin Yi's background in a bit, Zihua said quickly. Hurry up, if Pingzhan doesn't listen, give him a beating. We have to figure out Lin Yi's background as soon as possible, I can't wait to kill him. Qibing urged. Don't worry, Master Bing, I know what to do. Zihua nodded as he wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Also, what happened to my Qibing skyscraper? Qibing remembered the skyscraper that Lin Yi had flattened, and he couldn't help but feel humiliated. He had just completed his skyscraper, and now it was flattened by Lin Yi. Wasn't this a slap to his face? Not only did he lose face in front of so many rich kids, but it also affected the progress of Qibing real estate. They didn't even have an office space, so how could they build a building? Although the demolition work wasn't delayed, there wasn't a single worker when it came to building a building. How could they develop it? The Qibing skyscraper is completely destroyed, there's no hope of repairing it. Zihua complained. This skyscraper cost him and Gubang a lot of money, and now it was flattened just as it was completed. This was a huge loss. Destroyed. Can't you build a new one? Now, immediately. Build me a new skyscraper. I want to see a brand new Qibing skyscraper before I leave the ward. Qibing was panicking. Without the skyscraper, it would be a huge loss of face. Ugh. Master Bing, how can a skyscraper be built that quickly? Isn't this a joke? A skyscraper is built from the ground, and Rome isn't built in a day. Zihua smiled awkwardly. Didn't I give you some time? I'll be able to leave the house in a wheelchair in another 10 or 20 days, you have to build me a skyscraper. Qibing gave the mission. Master Bing, how can I build a skyscraper in 10 or 20 days? Isn't this making things difficult for me? Zihua smiled bitterly. 10 or 20 days is more than enough. I saw a video on the internet where a skyscraper was built in a few days. If others can do it, why can't you? Are you trying to brush me off? Zhao Qibing glared at him and barked. Ugh. I'll give it a try then. Zihua had no choice but to bite the bullet and ask around to see if he could find the video and hire a skilled construction team to build the skyscraper. Go do it. Qibing waved his hand impatiently, sending Zihua away. Zihua walked out of the floating cloud, a little depressed. He wasn't the owner of the bar anymore, and everyone here had the final say. Master Bing was the owner's son, so of course he was more powerful than Zihua. However, he couldn't afford to offend Uncle Zhu and the Medicine King. Now, he had become an errand boy. Sihua bro, what's wrong? Su Jianong asked as he saw Sihua walk out with a solemn face. Stop asking. Let's go to Pingzhan Industries with me. Sihua decided to solve Lin Yi's problem first. This was a little easier than building the skyscraper. Even if the skyscraper couldn't be completed on time, he would at least be able to answer to Master Bing. All right. Su Jianong didn't ask much and got in the car with Sihua, heading to Pingzhan Industries. Pingzhan was a little surprised by Sihua's arrival, but he didn't have too many questions. After all, he had heard from Lin Yi last night that the person Lin Yi provoked was Zhao Qibing, so Sihua was Zhao Qibing's underling. It wasn't strange for him to be here. Boss Li, may I know what brings you here? Pingzhan didn't bother with pleasantries. After all, they didn't have any business dealings, and Gubong's scheme against him was planned by Sihua. So, Pingzhan didn't even need to pretend to be polite to Sihua. Mr. Chu, there's no need to say more about what I do. We don't have a good relationship, but that's fine, Sihua said faintly. We'll let bygones be bygones for now. Gubong has failed, and I have no intentions of dealing with you. Oh. Then why are you here, Boss Li? Pingzhan didn't find it strange that Sihua was talking about his doings without hesitation. Everyone knew what was going on. Let's not beat around the bush. Mr. Chu, you hired a bodyguard named Lin Yi. Sihua wanted to complete Qibing's task as soon as possible, so he didn't waste time talking to Pingzhan. He came up with a strong stance. As far as Sihua was concerned, he wasn't Lin Yi's opponent, but he was a big shot in Songshan. Pingzhan was just a businessman, after all, and there was no way he could be compared to someone like Sihua who was tainted with the underworld. That's right. Is there a problem? Pingzhan frowned. As expected, Sihua was here for Lin Yi. I do have something I need to trouble you with, Mr. Chu. I'm sure you've heard about my Master Bing being injured, right? Sihua asked faintly. What are you trying to say? Pingzhan asked back. Master Bing doesn't have any masters by his side. I wonder if you're willing to part with Lin Yi, Mr. Chu. Sihua was using a bit of a trick this time. He was testing if Lin Yi was injured, how serious his injuries were, and if his kung fu was still intact. Oh, I have a contract with Mr. Lin Yi. Pingzhan said flatly. I see. Sihua cursed Pingzhan for being a sly old fox. He thought that if Lin Yi was injured, Pingzhan would say that Lin Yi wasn't fit to protect others anymore, or if Lin Yi lost his kung fu, Pingzhan would say that Lin Yi couldn't protect others anymore. But Pingzhan was talking about the contract. What did that mean? Was it because Lin Yi still had kung fu, and Pingzhan wasn't willing to let him go? Or was it because of the contract that Pingzhan didn't fire Lin Yi because of Lin Yi's kung fu? There was no tone to his words, and Sihua couldn't tell what Pingzhan was trying to say. Chapter 603. Stalked again, I'm afraid I won't be able to. Pingzhan said faintly. Is there anything else, Boss Li? Pingzhan hadn't said anything, and his words had been conveying his rejection of Sihua, as well as the fact that he wanted to keep his distance from Sihua. But even a wise man could make a mistake. He never would have thought that Sihua would be able to glean some information from his rejection. Pingzhan had said that he wouldn't be able to invite him, not that he wouldn't be able to invite him. This meant that Lin Yi was probably alone now, and he didn't have anyone from the same sect. If that was the case, then there wouldn't be any worries when dealing with Lin Yi. Sihua was overjoyed. Pingzhan, you old fox. You didn't see this coming, did you? I'm not here to poach you, nor am I here to hire another bodyguard for Master Bing. I'm here to get some information. Sihua didn't stay any longer after getting the answer he wanted. He left immediately, and Pingzhan didn't bother sending him off either. He smiled coldly as he watched Sihua walk out of the office. Sihua hated Pingzhan. In fact, he would have gone after Pingzhan even if this hadn't happened. He just didn't have the time yet. It'd be a great achievement if House Chu's wealth fell into House Zhao's hands. Although the so-called hidden aristocratic families were mysterious ancient martial arts families with absolute masters, their wealth was actually not as great as those ordinary aristocratic families. This was because they pursued different things. The hidden aristocratic families pursued the pinnacle of martial arts, while those aristocratic families pursued power and money. The two were fundamentally different, but hidden noble houses had a strong reputation as well. Not only did they have a lot of masters, but they also had a lot of medical experts. This was what the noble houses yearned for. Although it wasn't the ancient times where firearms existed, guns could still be a threat to normal people. But for real masters, masters above the golden class, they could easily dodge bullets and kill people before they could even open fire. Hence, guns were nothing to an expert. Of course, cannons, rockets, and armored cars were a different story. Even the mafia houses wouldn't be able to get their hands on these things, let alone normal noble houses. Hidden houses, on the other hand, needed money in order to maintain their development. This was also why Sihua was making money outside. Sihua had been drooling over Pingzhan Industries for a long time even without Master Bing. After leaving Pingzhan Industries, Sihua gave Master Bing a call and told him the good news. As for how to deal with Lin Yi, he'd have to discuss it with Uncle Zhu and Yao Wang. He wasn't in a rush, and it was enough as long as he knew that Lin Yi didn't have any background or support. Sihua felt a lot more relaxed now that he was done with this matter. He immediately went to contact the people who were building the skyscraper. It wasn't possible to build the skyscraper in a few days, but 20 days of hard work should be enough to complete it. However, the wages were doubled. The price of building a house at night was naturally different from building a house during the day. But Sihua didn't have a choice. Master Bing had given him a death order, and if he didn't carry it out, he might anger Master Bing. Sihua had no choice but to use the money he was planning to give to Guanyin. It was for Guanyin's son anyway, and Guanyin wouldn't say anything even if he knew about it. Today, Lin Yi wanted to visit Tang Yun at the hospital, but he was called up by Meng Yao and Yushu early in the morning. Lin Yi, accompany us to the bookstore to buy some revision materials today, Meng Yao said. Ugh. Lin Yi suspected that the miss heard that he was going to visit Tang Yun at the hospital yesterday. Otherwise, why would she suddenly want to buy revision materials? One had to know that Meng Yao and Yushu spent most of their time at home during the weekends. What, do you need something? Meng Yao really didn't want to make things difficult for Lin Yi. Her father's words yesterday made Meng Yao even more determined to get a good result. However, under the exam-oriented education system, it was impossible to get a good result without revision materials. No matter how smart you were, you couldn't avoid the brain-twisting questions. Only practice makes perfect, and you could deal with all kinds of changes. It's nothing. Lin Yi could only accompany the miss to the bookstore. Then why don't you hurry up and pack? Meng Yao's tone and attitude had returned to normal. She didn't have the abnormal emotions from yesterday. This made Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief. It seemed that he had thought too much. The miss was still the miss from before. After Lin Yi packed up, he left with Meng Yao and Yushu. On the way, he sent a text to Tang Yun, telling her that he would visit her at the hospital in the afternoon. Tang Yun didn't think much after receiving the text. It was already midnight when they returned to the hospital yesterday. It was only 10 in the morning now, and Tang Yun hadn't woken up yet. She thought that Lin Yi would need to sleep a little longer. Which bookstore? Lin Yi drove the car out of the villa area and asked the miss in the back seat. Let's go to Shuahai bookstore. The one near the school. Meng Yao thought about it and said. Okay. Lin Yi nodded, but his eyes fell on the rearview mirror of the car. There was a black MPV following them after they left the district. Lin Yi had seen this MPV before. Who else could it be if it wasn't Sihua's? He didn't expect that Sihua, who had been depressed for a long time, would start to play surveillance again. Didn't he know that his car had been exposed once? In fact, Sihua didn't want to hide from Lin Yi. He sent people to the villa area just to see how Lin Yi was doing. Yuchu dialed Sihua's number as he sat in the black MPV. Sihua bro, it's me, Yuchu. Yuchu said hurriedly. I saw Lin Yi. Oh. Sihua had just finished his business. He hired a construction team to redesign the damaged building, and they were ready to start tomorrow. Sihua, on the other hand, returned to the floating cloud bar and received a call from Yuchu the moment he entered. He'd sent Yuchu to keep an eye on Lin Yi. He didn't know how Lin Yi was doing right now, and Sihua couldn't get anything out of Pingzhan. So, he sent Yuchu out to keep an eye on Lin Yi's villa. Where did you see him? How's Lin Yi? Sihua asked. Chapter 604. Are you sure you're not mistaken? What dash? Sihua was so shocked he almost threw the phone away. What? What did you say? Lin Yi's driving. Out with Meng Yao and the others. Yeah, what's wrong with that? Yuchu was just a small fry, and he didn't know much about these secretive things. He knew that Lin Yi had crippled Master Bing's legs, but he didn't know much about Lin Yi's strength or Uncle Zhu's. Are you sure you're not mistaken? Lin Yi's driving. Sihua asked in disbelief. Nope, I even took a picture with my phone when they came out. I'll send it to you later. Yuchu said with certainty. He didn't know why Sihua was so suspicious. Lin Yi's like a normal person. There's nothing wrong with him. Sihua asked, unwilling to give up. Yeah, he's driving. What's wrong with that? Yuchu replied. Then send me the picture. Sihua frowned. This was strange. According to Uncle Zhu and Yao Wang, shouldn't Lin Yi be lying on the bed, about to die? How was he still able to go out with Meng Yao and Yushu? He could even drive. Okay, should I continue to follow them? Zhang Yuzhou asked. You don't have to. You can leave now. Sihua only wanted to check on Lin Yi's condition. He wasn't interested in what Lin Yi was doing at all. Oh, all right. I'll be leaving then. Yuchu replied. He sent Lin Yi's picture to Sihua and told the driver to stop following the car. And so, just when Lin Yi was wondering why Sihua had sent someone to follow him and Lin Yi was about to shake them off, the car behind him disappeared after a turn. Lin Yi shook his head. Lin Yi couldn't be bothered with them since they weren't following them anymore. Sihua wouldn't be able to do much anyway. Sihua received a picture from Zhang Yuzhou right after he hung up. It was a picture of Lin Yi walking out of the villa with Meng Yao and Yushu as if nothing had happened, and the three of them were in the car. The last few pictures were a little blurry, evidently taken when Zhang Yuzhou was following Lin Yi in the car. Only the rear of Meng Yao's Audi S5 could be seen clearly. Sihua didn't dare to delay and hurriedly ran into the back of the bar. Qibing was playing with his phone while Yao Wang and Uncle Zhu were discussing something in a low voice. Master Bing, Uncle Zhu, Mr. Yao, I have big news. Sihua said in a panic. Big news? What big news? Master Bing put his phone aside when he saw Sihua. He was reading a web novel called How to Pick Up Girls, imagining himself becoming the main character in the novel and dominating the world. Lin Yi doesn't seem to be injured. According to my men, he's out with Meng Yao and Yushu right now. Lin Yi is driving, he's no different from a normal person. Sihua said. Impossible. Qibing didn't say anything, but Uncle Zhu spoke first. I exchanged a palm strike with him, I know what's going on between us. How can he be fine? Uncle Zhu, I don't think it's possible either, but this is the picture my men just sent me. Take a look. Sihua smiled bitterly and passed the phone to Uncle Zhu. Uncle Zhu took the phone and looked at it. Yao Wang, who was at the side, followed. This. Uncle Zhu's eyes widened as he looked at the image on the phone, as if he had just seen a ghost. Was this taken just now? How is that possible? With such a heavy injury, I don't even know if I can stand up and walk. Even without the elixir and Yao Bro's care, I might not even be able to talk. How can this Lin Yi leave the house? Yao Wang's face was also filled with disbelief. He felt that the photo on the phone was too unbelievable. It can't be, right? Could it be that Lin Yi isn't injured at all? Is he not a mystic class master? Is he a higher class master? That's impossible. Uncle Zhu shook his head. When we exchanged palms, I could clearly feel his strength. He's at the early phase of the mystic class. Besides, if he was stronger, he wouldn't have ignored my warning and attacked Master Bing directly. Since he chose to retreat, it means that he didn't have the confidence to fight me head-on. Besides, it's only when our strengths are on par that I can survive. If the opponent's strength was too high, I wouldn't even be here talking right now. I would have died a long time ago. But the fact is that Lin Yi really came out. Let's not talk about what's possible or not, it's already possible. Sihua said helplessly. Uncle Zhu, Mr. Yao Wang, if Lin Yi was injured, he wouldn't be able to get up, right? That's not for sure. Yao Wang shook his head. There's only one possibility, he lost his strength, so he's back to normal. Lost his strength? Sihua paused, not understanding what Yao Wang meant. Yes, he lost his strength. Yao Wang nodded. When a master is injured to the point of death, there are two ways to save his life. The first is to use a large amount of rare and precious elixirs to nourish himself. Of course, you also need a master who knows how to heal with pure energy. Otherwise, the pure energy in the world wouldn't be enough to heal the injury. The second way is if you don't meet the requirements of the first method, you can only lose your strength in order to save your life. Ah. So you're saying that after you save your life, your strength will be gone? Sihua asked, surprised. You could say that. Yao Wang nodded. Could it be that Lin Yi lost his strength? Sihua mumbled to himself. The first method has too many requirements, it needs a treasure of heaven and earth, as well as a master with medical expertise. Lin Yi probably won't be able to find all of these things. It's possible that he'd even dispelled his arts to save his life. In the first method, you don't have to meet these two requirements at the same time. It's just that if you have both, you'll be able to recover faster. If you lack one, you'll be able to recover, but at a slower rate. Yao Wang said with a wave of his hand. I don't think Lin Yi has these two requirements, so it's possible that he chose to lose his strength. Sihua said. Chapter 605. Yao Wang's analysis, of course not. Uncle Zhu smiled bitterly. If it were me, I'd rather die than lose my strength. Only cultivators like us know how hard it is to cultivate. Strength is built up bit by bit, and losing it to a normal person is worse than dying. Even if there's a sliver of hope, you can't lose your strength. You're right. Yao Wang nodded. That's why, if Lin Yi isn't an idiot, he wouldn't lose his strength. Or, at least, he wouldn't lose it unless he had no other choice. Or maybe he had no other choice. Sihua frowned. Right, could it be that he's recovered his strength? Recovered his strength. Yao Wang and Uncle Zhu both took in a cold breath. After all, Zihua's assumption was far too bold. It wasn't impossible, but it was too idealistic. What's wrong? Is there a problem? Zihua asked, curious at the exaggerated expressions on Yao Wang and Uncle Zhu's faces. The hypothesis you're suggesting is possible, Yao Wang said. But that's only in an ideal situation. First, if he's in a blessed place with thick pure energy, it's not impossible for him to recover his strength in a day. As long as there's enough pure energy to absorb, recovering his strength wouldn't be a problem. Of course, I don't know if there's such a place on Earth, at least, I've never heard of it. That sounds like a fairyland from a TV show. It doesn't seem to exist anymore. Zihua shook his head. Other than that, the second method is to have a master from the same sect imbue Lin Yi's body with his own qi, and that's how he can recover quickly. However, this method had its flaws. First of all, it had to be an expert from the same sect. Because different sects had different cultivation methods, the true qi in their bodies was also different. If it was forced, it would only result in death. Secondly, while it could save someone, it wouldn't be a good thing for the master. Giving away the pure energy he'd worked so hard for would cause his strength to plummet, and he might even lose a level. I don't think even blood brothers or father and son would use this method. Because the higher the level, the harder it was to cultivate. In order to save a mystic class master's life, the rescuer must be at least an earth class master. But if he gave his true qi to the rescuer, then the rescuer might also drop to mystic class. If he wanted to ascend to earth class again, he would need a lot of hard work. No one would do such a thing, Medicine King said. I see. Zihua nodded. So that means that Lin Yi really did lose his strength. Or was there really no hope for him to recover? I've heard from Pingzhan that Lin Yi doesn't have any friends, and that he's alone. There's no one to save him, and he doesn't have any treasures to help him. If he doesn't disperse his strength, he'll die. That's hard to say. Yao Wang shook his head. In short, I think this matter is very strange. Yeah. This Pingzhan really doesn't know what's good for him. I've been beating around the bush for a long time, but I can't get anything out of him. Zihua said angrily. Alright, stop studying Lin Yi. What's the point of studying him? Whether or not he recovers, I'll deal with him. Master Bing was getting impatient. Since he doesn't have anyone to back him up, I'll make sure he dies in front of me. And this Pingzhan, does it mean that he's going to protect Lin Yi no matter what? I wasn't planning to deal with him immediately, but since he doesn't know what's good for him, then I'll deal with him as well. That's true. Zihua nodded after hearing Master Bing's words. Mr. Yao, Uncle Zhu, how do we deal with Lin Yi? Lil's brother Zhu's condition won't be able to recover within a year and a half, so don't worry about him. Yao Wang said. But, even if Lil's brother Zhu recovers, I don't recommend fighting Lin Yi head-on. Oh. Yao Wang, aren't you a mystic as well? You're not afraid of Lin Yi, are you? You and Uncle Zhu working together can't take down Lin Yi? Qi Bin asked. Master Bing, I'm a mystic, yes, but my mystic class is a bit special. Yao Wang smiled bitterly. Although I'm a mystic as well, I use medicine to increase my strength. It's different from a master who uses pure qi from heaven and earth to increase his strength. Moreover, the mental cultivation method that I'm cultivating is of a supplementary nature. Its main purpose is to save people and not attack. So that's how it is. Master Bing nodded, but he felt wronged. If that's the case, then how do we deal with Lin Yi? Can't we do anything to him now that he's a normal person? That's not true. No one can be sure if Lin Yi is a normal person or not. What if he has an ancient miracle medicine? Eating one would be equivalent to half a year's worth of recovery. Who knows, he might even recover his strength. Yao Wang shook his head. There's such a miracle medicine. Qibin's eyes widened. The world is big, nothing is too strange. Yao Wang said. Although it sounds a bit scary, I've read about similar medicines in some ancient books. They're called the Great Recovery Pill and the Minor Recovery Pill. The Great Recovery Pill allows an injured person to recover to their peak in an instant, and the Minor Recovery Pill allows the injury to heal quickly, but the strength has to be recovered bit by bit. Of course, this miracle medicine is only a legend. It's hard to say whether or not it exists. But what if Lin Yi has it? If we fight him head-on, we'll be at a disadvantage. Makes sense. Sihua nodded. Fuck, then wouldn't we be holding back? Qibin was very unhappy after hearing Yao Wang's analysis. Wasn't this toying with them? Why don't we deal with Pingzhan first? Sihua suddenly had an idea. Since we can't deal with Lin Yi directly, why don't we start with Pingzhan? We can also test Lin Yi's strength this way. If Lin Yi really recovers, he'll definitely jump out. If Lin Yi is a normal person, he won't be able to get involved. That's right. Qibin was energized. That's right, we can deal with Pengzhan first. Let's think about how to deal with him. Chapter 606. Chapter 606, Ruin his reputation. That's right, you guys take a break first. Sihua, what do you think we should do next? Qibin asked. Sihua fell into deep thought. We should choose to strike Pingzhan's weakest point, where it's the easiest to hit him. That way, we'll be able to quickly test out Pingzhan's bottom line, and see if Lin Yi has recovered his strength. Fuck, it'd be great if we could deal with both Pingzhan and Lin Yi at the same time. I can't take it anymore. Qibing's temper had been pretty bad these days. After all, lying in bed with a broken leg was a very uncomfortable thing to do. Pingzhan Industries has a lot of businesses. We should target the weakest one, the one that's the easiest to deal with. Sihua said in a deep voice. Master Bing didn't disturb him. After all, Qibing wasn't as familiar with Pingzhan Industries as Sihua was. He didn't even know what kind of businesses Pingzhan Industries had. He could only wait for Sihua to come up with a plan. Su Jiaonong, come in. Sihua couldn't think of anything by himself, so he called Su Jiaonong in. But Su Jiaonong wasn't a very skillful man. He wasn't even as good as Sihua when it came to scheming. The two discussed for a long time, but couldn't come up with a plan. It pissed Qibing off. You two pieces of trash. You can't even do something this simple. Keep thinking, I don't believe that we can't deal with one Pingzhan. Master Bing, please calm down. Jiaonong said carefully. Sihua bro, why don't we call Jin Gubang and Zhong Fabai over? Jin Gubang used to work for Pingzhan Industries, and he knows them far better than we do. Plus, Zhong Fabai seems to be quite a devious, there's strength in numbers. What do you think, Master Bing? Alright, Sihua, hurry up and call Jin Gubang and Fabai, tell them to come over. Master Bing agreed without hesitation. He didn't want to wait any longer. He wanted to take revenge on Lin Yi. Jin Gubang and Zhong Fabai heard that Master Bing wanted to see them, so they rushed over immediately. They knew that Lin Yi had injured Uncle Zhu and crippled Master Bing's leg, but they didn't think that Lin Yi could live for long. Who was Master Bing? Lin Yi actually broke his opposite leg. Why would Master Bing let him off? So when Sihua told them about Master Bing's plan to deal with Lin Yi and Pingzhan Industries, they knew that their guess was correct. I'm good at dealing with Pingzhan. Gubang said, if we're talking about something that can attract the attention of the media and ruin Pingzhan Industries' reputation, we can start with the schools. School. Fourth school. Sihua paused. That's right, it's the school. Gubong said, nowadays, if something happens to the students in the school, it'll be a big deal. The media won't stop until they're dead, and the public's opinion will be one-sided. They'll say that Pingzhan is a black-hearted businessman who dared to target the students. Even if they want to salvage the situation, it'll depend on what it is. What we need to do is create an accident that they can't salvage, and we'll be able to achieve our goal. That's right. Sihua's eyes lit up. That's right, if something were to happen to Pingzhan's school, the parents wouldn't just let it go. It'd be a headache. But, what could cause a school to go wrong? Continue, what should we do? Qibing nodded approvingly. It seemed that he didn't take Gubong in for nothing. If we cause a school to go wrong, naturally, we'll cause problems for the students. Gubong said. For example, if a building collapses and kills a few students, or if a gang goes to the school and kills a few students, or if there's a teacher who's a monster, hitting or even molesting the students, etc., these are all things that can destroy a school's reputation in no time. But, what you're saying isn't very realistic. Qibing frowned. A building collapses. Do you dare be like Lin Yi and destroy a building? If it's a gang, do you want our people to do it? Wouldn't we be dragged into this? As for the monster teacher, don't even think about it. It's basically impossible. No matter how much money you give them, they won't risk their lives to commit crimes. Gubong laughed dryly, a little embarrassed. I'm just giving examples. Let's continue our discussion. Master Bing, I wonder if this Mr. Yao Wang is an expert in poison as well as saving lives. Fabai, who'd been silent all this time, suddenly spoke up. Poison. Of course, Yao Wang is an expert in all kinds of pharmacology. Poison is a piece of cake for him. Qibing nodded. Master Bing, why don't we poison them? If a student gets food poisoning, it won't be a small matter. Fabai said, food poisoning. This can be attributed to the school's poor supervision, or it can be twisted to say that Pingzhan Industries is too evil. They sold expired junk food to the students and caused the students to be poisoned. If they're not careful, they might even poison Lin Yi or Meng Yao to death. That would be killing two birds with one stone. Brilliant. How wonderful. Old Zhong, you're not bad at all. Zhao Qibing listened to Fabai's idea and praised it. That's a good idea, let's do it. Yao Wang, make a poison as soon as possible and poison the cafeteria of 4th High. Poison is easy, but who's going to do it? Moreover, if he poisoned it, would it be discovered by others? That's the key. Yao Wang was naturally an expert in poison, but that wasn't what he was concerned about. That's a problem. Right, old Zhong, isn't your son in 4th High? Why don't you let him do it? Qibing glanced at Fabai and said. Fabai was taken aback and jumped in fright. How could he let his son do something like this? If this was exposed, he'd have to go to jail. He only had one son, and he was missing a kidney. How could he let him take the risk? He quickly said, Master Bing, that's not a good idea. Let my son do this. What, you're not willing? Master Bing frowned. Are you afraid that I won't give you any benefits? Chapter 607. Chapter 607, Getting Close to Guan Xian. Oh, that's what you're talking about. We'll just find a scapegoat when the time comes. Master Bing said faintly as he looked at Gubong and Sihua. Do you have anyone who can take the blame? I do, but I don't have any connections with Pingzhan Industries. The police might not believe me even if I get them to take the blame. Sihua said, troubled. Master Bing, I do have someone who's a distant relative of mine. He's the type of person who values money more than his life. Gubong said after some thought. Most importantly, he has some history with Pingzhan. Yes, that's right. It's decided then. Yao Wang will make the poison, and Pin Liang will poison it. Gubong's distant relative will be the scapegoat if something goes wrong. Master Bing was getting impatient. Yao Wang, it's best if you make a rare poison that's hard to detoxify, and the hospital won't be able to detect it. That's the only way to ruin Pingzhan Industries' reputation. Otherwise, if they find out that someone poisoned Pingzhan Industries, it won't affect Pingzhan as much. Don't worry, Master Bing. Yao Wang said confidently. There aren't many people in this world who can detoxify the poison I make. Since I'm called Yao Wang, I naturally have a deep understanding of pharmacology. I've never lost to anyone in my life, other than one person. But that person disappeared more than 10 years ago. Yao Wang naturally had the right to be arrogant. If Yao Wang said he was number 2 amongst all the famous doctors of the hidden houses, then no one would dare say they were number 1. This was also why he was able to save Uncle Zhu even after he was injured. Yes, that's good. Master Bing knew how powerful Yao Wang was. We'll carry out this plan after Pin Liang is discharged. Old Zhong, don't worry too much. I won't mistreat you. Isn't Pin Liang missing a kidney? I'll help him research a compatible kidney source in the next few days and then install it for him. Thank you, Master Bing. Fabai was overjoyed. Pin Liang's loss of a kidney had always been a thorn in his side, and Master Bing was here to help him find a new kidney. It couldn't be any better. Lin Yi naturally didn't know that Master Bing had started to deal with him, but even if he knew, he would just laugh it off. Medicine King. He even used Dr. Kang's medicine to treat his injuries. How dare he call himself the king of medicine? Why are there so many people with big faces in this world? Nothing was too strange in this world. Lin Yi parked the car downstairs of Shuahai bookstore and accompanied the 2 ladies into the bookstore. Meng Yao and Yushu went to the high school information section. Lin Yi wasn't too interested in stuff like that. Even if he couldn't get into a university, Pingzhan would still send him to one of Meng Yao's. Lin Yi wasn't Meng Yao, after all. He didn't care how he got into university. If he had the time to study every day, he might as well do some research instead. Lin Yi was busy enough every day. I'll go to the medicine section. You guys can find me there after you're done, Lin Yi said to Meng Yao. Oh. Meng Yao was flipping through the latest mock exam summaries from different provinces and cities. She responded faintly and didn't bother with Lin Yi. Yushu was also flipping through a practice book like Meng Yao, but after hearing Lin Yi's words, she waved her hand at Lin Yi, indicating that she understood. Lin Yi smiled and turned to the medicine section. This was where he met Guan Shuamin. Almost a month had passed in the blink of an eye, and Lin Yi and Guan Shuamin had established a medicine company together. Life was really strange. But, surprisingly, Lin Yi saw 2 familiar faces in the medicine section. Kong Mingming had been in Songshan for 4 days now, and he was here with a difficult mission for his family, hit on Guan Xan. He wanted to start with Guan Xan and learn about the recipe for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing in Guan Shuamin's hands. Of course, he didn't believe that Guan Shuamin had invented the recipe. As far as he was concerned, Guan Shuamin was just like his grandfather, Dr. Kong, who'd gotten the recipe from some master by chance. He was a master at hitting on girls, and naturally, he wouldn't rush to the hospital to give Guan Xan flowers or woo her. That would be too cliché, and he didn't think that Guan Xan would say yes. According to Kong Mingming's research, Guan Xan had never had a boyfriend before. Doing that would only scare her. And so, Kong Ming Ming wanted to create a chance encounter. He wanted to meet Guan Xan at a suitable place and get to know her. That way, Guan Xan would let her guard down. But this opportunity wasn't easy to come by. Kong Ming Ming waited in front of Guan Xan's house for 4 days without a single chance. It was easy to find out where Guan Xuemin lived, and Kong Ming Ming found it without much effort. But while he waited for Guan Xan nearby, and he did see her every day, he couldn't just go up and hit on her, could he? Guan Xan would definitely think of him as a pervert, and that wasn't something Kong Ming Ming wanted to see. Guan Xan took the commuter bus to and from work every day. It was a routine, and Kong Ming Ming had no chance to take advantage of it. If Guan Xan took the bus or taxi, he could still create a chance encounter. But he wasn't a hospital employee, so he couldn't get on a commuter bus. This made Kong Ming Ming very gloomy. He called himself the Casanova, but when had he not met his target after waiting for 4 days? Just as he was about to lose his patience, Guan Xan finally left the house. It was Saturday, and Guan Xan didn't go to work. After leaving the villa, she took the bus to academic bookstore. Kong Ming Ming felt that his chance had come, so he quickly flagged down a taxi and followed her all the way to academic bookstore. When he saw Guan Xan go to the medical section, he started thinking about how to hit on her. Guan Xan naturally didn't notice that someone was following her. After all, she wasn't a criminal investigator, so there was no way she would notice that Kong Ming Ming was already not far from her. Guan Xan came to the bookstore today to buy some books about the doctor assistant exam. She'd majored in nursing when she was in school, but she'd also studied Chinese and Western medicine at the same time. Her grandfather was an outstanding doctor, and Guan Xan didn't want to disappoint him, so she chose a medicine-related major as her second major. Chapter 608. Kong Ming Ming strikes up a conversation. Guan Xan's decision to pick up this major and take the exam was all because of Lin Yi. She knew that Lin Yi's medical skills were on par with her grandpa's, perhaps even better. She was afraid that she wouldn't have anything to talk about with Lin Yi in the future, so she decided to pick up this major. She didn't tell her grandpa or her father about it, of course. She'd made the decision herself. Kong Ming Ming was regretting that he didn't spend more time studying medical books. He could have found a topic to talk to Guan Xan if he did. It was a rare opportunity. He came from a medical family, and this was the perfect excuse to strike up a conversation with Guan Xan. Unfortunately, Kong Ming Ming didn't know how to do anything other than flirt. Kong Ming Ming panicked when he saw Guan Xan flipping through a book from the shelf. How was he supposed to hit on her? Wait a minute. Kong Ming Ming had an epiphany. Guan Xan was just a nurse, she didn't know anything about medicine. Nurses, on the other hand, should be doing things like practice makes perfect, right? Needles, bandages, and so on. She didn't need to go to a bookstore to buy books, did she? So Guan Xan was here for. Kong Ming Ming looked around the medical section. There were quite a few girls as well, and one of them happened to walk past him. Kong Ming Ming clearly saw the words on the cover of the book she was holding. Traditional Chinese Beauty. Realization dawned on Kong Ming Ming. So it was Traditional Chinese Beauty. Guan Xan was probably here for that type of book as well. Which girl didn't want to look good? Especially a cute and pretty girl like Guan Xan. She wanted to look even prettier. Kong Ming Ming felt more confident at that thought. He didn't know anything about medicine, but Guan Xan might not know either. As long as he made it sound more professional and reliable, Guan Xan wouldn't be able to tell if he was telling the truth or not. Not to mention that there were many books out there that were full of lies. What was written might not even be right, and some of them even contradicted each other. Kong Ming Ming gritted his teeth, strode over, and said with a smile, beautiful lady, are you reading beauty books? Guan Xian's book was open, so Kong Xiaoming couldn't see the cover. He had no idea what Guan Xian was reading, so he asked arrogantly. Oh. Guan Xian raised her head to look at Kong Mingming. She didn't recognize him, so she ignored him and continued reading her book. Many of the things in these books are lies. I happen to have nothing to do today, so I'll tell you how to use Chinese medicine to make you look good. Kong Mingming said confidently, let me introduce myself. I'm Kong Mingming, the grandson of Dr. Kong. Dr. Kong. Guan Xian paused. She'd heard of Dr. Kong before, the famous golden creation. She'd often be asked if the hospital had Dr. Kang's golden creation when she was bandaging patients. But Guan Xian didn't have any special feelings towards Dr. Kong, she'd only heard of him. Yeah, our Kong family is a family of Chinese medicine. Usually, I won't casually comment on these Chinese medicine beauty books, but after seeing you today, I really can't help but say a few words. Kong Mingming thought that Guan Xian was shocked by Dr. Kang's name, so he continued to speak proudly, if you follow these scammers' books to make you look good, then you'll definitely be disfigured. I can't bear to see someone as beautiful as you be destroyed, so I have to say something. Oh. Guan Xian frowned, annoyed by Kong Mingming's incessant chatter. No need, I don't want to have my beauty done either. How can you do that? You're so beautiful, if you don't know how to take care of yourself, then your beauty will only last for a short time. Kong Mingming said, think about it, you're so beautiful now because you're young and invincible, but in a few years, you'll be old and your pearls will turn yellow. What then? Guan Xian glared at Kong Mingming, wondering why this guy was talking like that. Old and yellow pearls. Was he crazy? But Guan Xian had good manners, and she wasn't the type to get angry easily. She didn't say anything even though she was displeased with Kong Mingming, and continued to read. She thought that if she ignored him, he'd just leave. But who would have thought that Kong Xiaoming didn't leave? He continued to ramble on, our miracle Dr. Kang's family has done a lot of research on traditional Chinese beauty treatments. These are all common herbs written in these books, but they're actually useless. If you want to stay young forever, you need to take some strong medicine. For example, Lingji, snow lotus, deer antler, tiger penis. Kong Mingming didn't know what kind of medicine was good, but since Guan Xian didn't know anything about it, he told her about some of the expensive herbs he'd heard about. Guan Xian couldn't help but blush when she heard the words tiger penis. She was a little irritated. Was there something wrong with this guy? Why did he have to say everything? But Kong Mingming didn't have any self-awareness. He thought that Guan Xian was moved by his knowledge when he saw her blush, so he continued, I still have half a tiger penis at home, I ate half of it last time and it was very useful. If you need it, I can give it to you. Kong Xiaoming didn't realize that there was anything wrong with the tiger penis. He just wanted to get on Guan Xian's good side, so he told her whatever he had at home. He did have snow lotus, but that was for the skin beautifying golden creation. He wasn't stupid enough to give it away. Guan Xian couldn't stand the person in front of her any longer. She closed the book in her hands and was about to leave, and she looked up to see Lin Yi standing not too far away. Her heart leapt with joy. She waved at Lin Yi. Lin Yi. What a coincidence, you're here too. Kong Mingming was in the middle of proudly showing off his store stock when he saw Guan Xian walk away, to find Lin Yi no less. Kong Mingming's teeth itched with anger. The entire Kong family saw Lin Yi as their archenemy. Ever since Kong Xiaobo started hanging out with him, House Kong had been thrown into chaos. It was clearly a perfectly fine pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, but he didn't explain it clearly. Not only did he cause the Kong family to lose a precious pill, but they also had to eat dog shit. It was as embarrassing as it could get. Of course, Kong Mingming never blamed his family for these mistakes. He never thought that if it wasn't for the fact that his family didn't believe that Kong Xiaobo's pill was a miracle pill and Kong Mingming had stomped on the pill to smithereens, there wouldn't have been a series of events that happened after that. But Kong Mingming pushed all the blame onto Kong Xiaobo and Lin Yi, blaming them for not making things clear. Chapter 609. I don't know him. He wouldn't have needed a shepherd dog if he hadn't been researching dog poop, and the pills wouldn't have been eaten by a dog anyway. That's why enemies are furious when they see each other. Kong Mingming wanted nothing more than to tear Lin Yi into a million pieces. Especially since he didn't know what kind of relationship this guy had with Xuemin. What did he have to do with Xuemin and Lai Changyi? I'm just looking around. What are you doing here? Lin Yi could tell that Kong Mingming was here to get close to Guan Xan, but he didn't understand why Kong Mingming was chasing after Guan Xan. Could it be that this brat has nothing better to do and only knows how to chase after women? Yeah, I'm here to buy 2 books. Guan Xan's face reddened again. Her heart raced when she remembered that the reason she was buying books was because of Lin Yi. She was a shy girl, especially in front of the man she liked. Oh, do you need help? Lin Yi nodded, not thinking much about it. Guan Xan was Xuemin's granddaughter, and she worked in a hospital. It wasn't strange for her to buy medical books. No need. I've already chosen. Guan Xan said quietly. Kong Mingming was about to explode. Why did this Lin Yi have to do everything? It was a perfect opportunity to hit on Guan Xan, but Lin Yi had ruined it. Was this kid born to be a troublemaker? He'd ruined his grandpa's birthday banquet, ruined House Kang's plans for the auction, and even ruined his own attempts to hit on Guan Xan. Zhao Ming couldn't take it anymore. He pointed at Lin Yi and said to Guan Xan, "This guy isn't a good person, don't hang out with him. He's a big scammer. Our Kong family's signature product has been copied by him. We're Dr. Kang's golden creation medicine, and he made miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine. We made a special edition, and he also made a special edition. He's simply copying and copying. Don't get close to such a shameless person. He's learning everything from us. We're Miracle Dr. Kong, and now he's Miracle Dr. Guan. He's the king of copycats." Kong Xiaoming poured out all the depression he'd been suppressing for a long time, but when he finished, he saw Guan Xan staring at him coldly. It sent a chill down his spine. What kind of gaze was that? Kong Mingming suddenly understood. Wasn't Guan Xan's grandfather Miracle Dr. Guan? How dare he call Miracle Dr. Guan a fake? Wasn't that the same as scolding someone's grandfather? Of course Guan Xan was pissed. Kong Mingming regretted it. He couldn't control his mouth. Even if that was what he thought, he couldn't say it out loud. Wouldn't that make Guan Xan hate him? In a moment of desperation, Kong Xiaoming could only explain incoherently, No. I mean, I'm not saying that Miracle Dr. Guan isn't good, I'm saying that Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company isn't good, it's a counterfeit." Guan Xan was still staring at Kong Mingming coldly. Her eyes were filled with anger. Kong Mingming was shocked. What he said just now wasn't appropriate. Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. Wasn't it Guan Xuemin's company? It would have been better if he didn't explain himself. The more he tried to explain, the more he made things worse. No. I'm not saying Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company is bad. I'm saying that Miracle Dr. Guan was tricked by that Lai Changyi and this kid. They made him do some fake things. Kong Mingming explained incoherently. I didn't mean to insult you. How did you know Miracle Dr. Guan is my grandfather? Guan Axian glared at Kong Mingming. She didn't say anything about her identity. How did Kong Mingming know? Ugh. I guessed it. Kong Mingming sweated profusely. Yeah, he was here to create a coincidence. He shouldn't know Guan Axian. How did he let it slip? You knew, didn't you? Did you approach me on purpose? What are you trying to do? Guan Axian took 2 steps back subconsciously. She looked at Kong Mingming cautiously. Ugh. It's a misunderstanding. It's actually a misunderstanding. Kong Mingming was panicking. His performance today was below par. It could be said that he was below par. He was a master at picking up girls. How could he make such a low-level mistake? Lin Yi. It had to be Lin Yi. Ever since he met this kid, he'd started to make mistakes. It wasn't like this before. When he first met Guan Axian, he was still a gentleman, boastful and knowledgeable, and Guan Axian didn't pay attention to him because she was shy. At least she wasn't as angry as she was right now. He didn't know that Guan Axian only thought of him as a passerby. She didn't care about him at all. Since he was just a passerby, Guan Axian had no reason to be angry at him. But now, he was insulting her grandfather. He was insulting her grandfather and Lin Yi's company. How could she not be angry? Guan Axian wasn't a woman with a strong personality. Although she was angry, she only glared at Kong Mingming. Guan Axian, I actually know you. I've admired you for a long time. That's why I'm a bit infatuated in front of you. Please forgive me for saying something that doesn't make sense. Kong Mingming was indeed a master of love. After he calmed down, he pushed away his mistake with just a few words. Now, he was saying that Guan Axian was too pretty and that Kong Mingming was infatuated with her. If it was a more vain girl, she would have been very happy and wouldn't have cared about his mistake. But Guan Axian only had Lin Yi in her eyes. There was no place for Kong Mingming. His words only annoyed her even more. She frowned subtly and lowered her head. She didn't want to see Kong Mingming anymore. Seeing that Guan Axian was ignoring him and lowering her head, Kong Mingming thought that his words made Guan Axian shy. Girls who had never had a boyfriend would always be shy. Kong Mingming thought that Guan Axian was the same. Besides, he'd already used enough strong medicine today. If he said anything more, Kong Mingming was afraid that Guan Axian wouldn't be able to handle it. Guan Axian, I still have something to do today. A friend asked me out. I'll be leaving now. I've lost my composure today. Although I had my reasons, it was still inappropriate. I'll come and apologize another day. Kong Mingming felt that he was really smart. Not only did he apologize, but he also made a concession in order to advance. He set up an excuse for their next meeting. This way, Kong Mingming could go to the hospital to find Guan Axian. Chapter 610. What a fierce employer. Guan Axian didn't know what she was trying to prove, but she didn't want Lin Yi to misunderstand. Ha! I know him. Lin Yi smiled. He's a playboy, don't mind him. Okay. Guan Axian nodded, relieved. As long as Lin Yi didn't misunderstand. Guan Axian didn't understand why she cared so much about Lin Yi. Lin Yi had a girlfriend, what did she want? Guan Axian didn't know either. Did you buy the books? Lin Yi asked. Not yet, I was choosing when that Kong something came. Guan Axian shook her head. He said some weird stuff, I don't understand. Continue choosing then, I'll just read some books. Lin Yi took a book from the shelf and started reading. Meng Yao and Yushu went to the medicine section to look for Lin Yi after they were done with their revision materials. They saw Lin Yi talking to Guan Axian. What's he doing? Meng Yao was about to explode. Why was he messing around again when she couldn't even stop him? Why did he bump into a pretty girl in a bookstore? Shield bros flirting. Yushu took a closer look. She's pretty, not any worse than Yao Yao. What are you talking about? Meng Yao gritted her teeth. What do you mean not worse than me? This Lin Yi, he's pissing me off. Would he die if he didn't flirt? Oh, I don't know. I'll go tell Shield Bro to stop flirting then. Yushu asked. You can't go. Meng Yao frowned. She didn't want to yell at Lin Yi directly. She needed an excuse, or he'd think that she was doing something to him. With that thought, Meng Yao quickly took out her wallet and stuffed it in front of Yushu's chest. Hide it. Just say that you lost it. Oh. Yushu stared at her boobs, confused. Yao Yao, it's not symmetrical. Hold it in for a bit, it'll be symmetrical when we get home. Meng Yao glared at her. Oh. Yushu nodded, feeling wronged. Lin Yi. What are you doing? Shu and I went to buy books. How did you disappear in the blink of an eye? Meng Yao tried her best to sound angry. I lost my wallet, where did you go? Lin Yi was just about to finish his conversation with Guan Axian when Meng Yao's shout startled him. Who are they? Guan Axian jumped in fright as well. She looked at Meng Yao and Yushu in fear. These two girls were ridiculously beautiful, but they were so fierce that it was scary. My employer. Lin Yi shrugged and smiled bitterly. I have to go back. See you next time. Ah. Guan Axian was curious. Why did Lin Yi have an employer? Wasn't he doing business with Grandpa? Why did it look like he was the follower of the two misses? What the hell was going on? Although Guan Axian was curious, she didn't ask any questions. She wasn't a talkative girl, so she nodded. And, all right. Come to my house some other day. Grandpa's still wondering when you'll be able to come. Okay, I'll visit when I'm free. Lin Yi nodded. Then tell Grandpa in advance. I'll prepare food for you. Guan Axian said, a little embarrassed. Meng Yao gritted her teeth when she heard that Guan Axian was going to cook for Lin Yi. How could this girl be so shameless? She even wanted to cook for Lin Yi. Lin Yi, I'm hungry. Hurry, go home and cook for me and Shu. Meng Yao pointed at Lin Yi and said angrily. Oh, I'm hungry too. I want to eat shark meat. Yushu raised her hands and called out as well, but the movement was too big, and a corner of her purse was squeezed out of her chest. She didn't even realize it, and continued excitedly, let's go catch a shark. Your employer is so fierce. Guan Axian opened her mouth. She looked at Meng Yao and Yushu, stunned. Then go home. Don't disturb your work, okay, see you next time. Lin Yi didn't know what was up with the miss again. He walked over quickly. Lin Yi, it's because you left your post without permission that my wallet was stolen. What do you think I should do? Meng Yao glared at Lin Yi. Bring the thief to justice. Oh, it's Shu who stole your wallet. Lin Yi smiled. How is that possible? Meng Yao was shocked. She didn't know how Lin Yi knew. She argued, Shu, why would Shu steal my wallet? No, I didn't steal it. Yushu shook her head as well. Ha. It's right in front of your chest. Half of it's exposed. Lin Yi pointed at Yushu. Ah. Yushu looked down. A corner of her wallet was exposed. This, aren't you going to bring the thief to justice? I've caught him for you. Do you want me to send him to the police station? Lin Yi asked with a smile. Oh, no. I don't want to go to jail. Yao Yao was the one who forced me to hide my wallet. It's not my fault. Yushu screamed. Mingyao's eyes widened. Her heart was about to explode. What are you screaming for? Stop screaming. It's because your chest is too big. It squeezed out your wallet. Ah. You can't blame me. Yushu said pitifully. Ha. Since we found the thief, let's go back for dinner. Lin Yi smiled and didn't say anything. Sometimes, the miss was cuter than Shu. How could she come up with such a ridiculous idea? When they got home, Lin Yi went to cook. Meng Yao, on the other hand, glared at Yushu. Look at you. You don't even know how to act. You got caught like this. Yao Yao, you can't blame me. The wallet came out on its own. Yushu said weakly. Alright, let's not talk about this. You're pissing me off. Meng Yao was speechless. Who was the girl who talked to Lin Yi today? I don't know. I've never seen her before. Yushu shook her head. Aren't you the spy 007? You don't know anything. Meng Yao shook her head. Lin Yi prepared an extra portion of food. He wanted to give it to Tang Yun when he went to the hospital. However, the miss found out. Lin Yi, why did you make so much food? Will the three of us be able to finish it? Meng Yao was just pissed, so she asked casually. In fact, the miss usually didn't care about leftovers. I made an extra portion. I'll give it to Tang Yun when I go to the hospital. Lin Yi didn't hide it. Chapter 611. Shu to death. The miss didn't say anything during the meal. She lowered her head and dug in, wanting to finish the extra portion, but her appetite was limited. She couldn't eat anymore, so she turned to Yushu. Shu, go eat some more. Ah. But Yao Yao sis, I'm already full. Yushu said, holding her stomach. No, eat some more, your breasts are too small, you need to enlarge them. Meng Yao glared at Yushu, signaling her with her eyes. Yushu didn't know what Yao Yao sis wanted, but seeing that she wanted to continue eating, Yushu could only stand up and get more food. But Meng Yao got there first, running to the kitchen and putting the leftover rice and vegetables on Yushu's plate. Ah. That's a lot. Yushu was shocked. Hurry up and eat, your body is still growing, you need to eat more. Meng Yao said, seeing that Yushu didn't move her chopsticks, she lowered her voice and whispered, if you listen to me, I'll let you be my second wife. Oh, okay, I'll eat then. Yushu was happy hearing that, so she made a difficult decision and picked up the chopsticks to eat with difficulty. Lin Yi watched Yushu eat all the food bit by bit, and stood up speechlessly. It seemed that the idea of bringing food for Tang Yun was gone. Yushu finished all the food and couldn't stand up anymore, lying on the sofa motionlessly. Lin Yi told the miss and went to the hospital to visit Tang Yun. Meng Yao didn't have any reason to stop Lin Yi, and in fact, she couldn't. Seeing that Lin Yi was full of energy, Tang Yun was very happy. She was worried about Lin Yi's injury, but it seemed that he was fine now. You're here. Tang Yun ran down from the bed in surprise. And, are you feeling better? Lin Yi wanted to hug Tang Yun, but Tang Yun shyly dodged. I'm fine now, my forehead doesn't hurt at all. Tang Yin said as she moved away from Lin Yi, afraid that Lin Yi wouldn't be happy. This is a hospital room, there's a lot of people here, it'd be bad if Mom saw us. Lin Yi chuckled. I wanted to bring you some when I was cooking, but Yushu ate it all. Tang Yun didn't want a meal, but a thought from Lin Yi. As long as Lin Yi thought of her, she would be happy. She wanted to ask about the relationship between Lin Yi and Meng Yao, but she couldn't bring herself to do so. She was afraid that Lin Yi would think that she was petty. After a night of peace, the bold Tang Yun had returned to her original self. Without Meng Yao's provocation, it would be hard for her to do anything bold. It was embarrassing and shameful to think about it. Was she still the same person yesterday? Actually, I transferred to Songshan because my elders asked me to take care of Meng Yao. It's my job, Lin Yi explained before Tang Yun could ask. Lin Yi didn't wait for Tang Yun to ask and started explaining. He had to tell Tang Yun about this sooner or later, it was just a matter of time. Now that she had met up with the miss, Lin Yi told her everything he could. I've been living in Meng Yao's villa since the first day I transferred here. She rarely interferes with my personal matters, but maybe it was because I didn't tell her before I went to avenge you, so I pissed her off. Tang Yun didn't know what Lin Yi was thinking. Lin Yi told Tang Yun about his relationship with the miss, not hiding anything. After all, there was nothing to hide. Lin Yi told her the truth. Oh. I see. Tang Yun calmed down after listening to Lin Yi's detailed explanation. After all, Lin Yi said that this was his job. He came to Songshan to take care of Meng Yao. Yeah, will you be angry if you know the truth? Lin Yi asked. I'm not that petty. This is your job, why would I interfere? Although Tang Yun said that, she still felt a little uncomfortable. After all, Lin Yi was living under the same roof as Meng Yao and Yushu. How could Tang Yun not care at all? It'll be fine when we get a dorm in university, Lin Yi said. Right, yesterday, they said that you kissed them and touched them. Tang Yun was a little embarrassed. She paused and continued, and often. 3p. Lin Yi was speechless, 3p. How is that possible? If I really did 3p with them, would they let me meet you? That's true. Tang Yun wasn't stupid. If Lin Yi did 3p with the miss and Shu every day, they would definitely keep a close eye on Lin Yi. How could they let him meet her? What about kissing and touching them? Tang Yun couldn't help but ask. Didn't I tell you? Meng Yao drank my drink, so that counts as an indirect kiss. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Yushu, on the other hand, was drowning, and I was performing CPR on her. As for touching her, it was during CPR, really? Tang Yun asked, but she already believed Lin Yi. Yes, Lin Yi nodded. Then can you take off the bandage on my head? Tang Yun asked. Ah. Lin Yi was taken aback. Tang Yun's thoughts were jumping a little too far, wasn't it? She was just asking about him and the miss, why was she asking about the bandage on her head now? Lin Yi didn't know that Tang Yun wanted to know if she was disfigured or not. If she was disfigured, Tang Yun was afraid that she wouldn't be able to compete with Meng Yao. Although Tang Yun didn't say it out loud, her woman's intuition told her that Meng Yao's behavior towards Lin Yi wasn't just like what Lin Yi said, that she went to take revenge and didn't report to her. Yesterday in Fatty Lai's villa, Meng Yao's behavior could be interpreted as jealousy. Of course, Tang Yun wouldn't say it out loud if Lin Yi didn't say it. It should be done, let me take it off for you, Lin Yi said as he reached out to take off the bandage on Tang Yun's head. Tang Yun, on the other hand, lowered her head and looked forward to the moment the bandage was taken off. Ah! Lin Yi looked at Tang Yun's smooth forehead and couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. Although Lin Yi was confident in his medicine, he was still a little nervous since it was related to Tang Yun. How is it? Tang Yun asked anxiously. Chapter 612. Next time knock. I don't dare. Tang Yun didn't dare to. She didn't want her dream to be destroyed. How would you know if you don't look? Lin Yi smiled. This isn't like you. You wouldn't be this worried in the past, would you? Lin Yi was right, Tang Yun wouldn't be this hesitant in the past. She was a girl who took responsibility for her actions. Tang Yun glared at Lin Yi but didn't say anything. She thought, what difference does it make if I'm pretty or not? Not being pretty would save me a lot of trouble. But it was different now. If she wasn't pretty, would he still like her? However, under Lin Yi's persuasion, Tang Yun still walked in front of the mirror. She panicked and looked at herself in the mirror. She couldn't help but be shocked. The scar on her forehead was gone. There was only a shallow mark left. If one didn't look closely, they wouldn't be able to see it. This is new skin. It'll be different from before, but there won't be any difference after a few days, Lin Yi explained. Is it really that magical? Tang Yun couldn't believe it, she had 8 stitches on her forehead. Although Lin Yi removed them in the end, it was still a mess of flesh and blood. In just one day, she recovered to her original appearance. Was she dreaming? There's nothing magical about it. Dr. Kang's golden creation can achieve this effect a long time ago. Lin Yi didn't think that what he did was magical. Dr. Kang's golden creation, how can my family afford it? I've never used it before, how would I know? Tang Yun was so happy that she was hopping around the room like a little bird. When she saw her mother come in, Tang Yun jumped in fright and almost fell down. Lin Yi quickly supported Tang Yun. Tang Yun fell into Lin Yi's arms. Mrs. Tang came to check on her daughter's condition, afraid that she'd be depressed. After all, Mrs. Tang hadn't seen Lin Yi's medicine with her own eyes. She didn't know if Tang Yin could recover. She saw her daughter and Lin Yi being intimate. Mrs. Tang coughed awkwardly. I'm going out for a walk. Mom. Tang Yin was embarrassed as she struggled out of Lin Yi's embrace, not daring to look at Mrs. Tang. She was pissed off that she'd fallen when her mother opened the door and walked in, not daring to look at her. This was so embarrassing. Did her mother think that she was throwing herself into Lin Yi's arms? I'll knock first next time. Mrs. Tang thought to herself, my daughter is all grown up now. It looks like I'll have to be more careful in the future. I didn't think about this in the past, but now I realize that my daughter needs her own space. Of course, this was under the assumption that Mrs. Tang liked Lin Yi. Mrs. Tang wouldn't be as easygoing as she was with Lin Yi, she'd be more than happy to ruin things. Mom, what are you talking about? Tang Yin said a little awkwardly. The wound on my forehead healed. I was so happy that I almost fell down, and Lin Yi just helped me up a little. Tang Yun felt a bit guilty under her mother's gaze, so she couldn't speak with confidence. I understand. Mrs. Tang said as she looked at her daughter's expression. Tang Yin knew that the misunderstanding had deepened. Auntie. Lin Yi didn't panic at all. He politely nodded to Mrs. Tang and asked, how's Uncle Tang's injury? He's much better. With the medicine you gave him, he doesn't feel any pain anymore. He's also taken the Chinese medicine. He looks good. In fact, Mrs. Tang didn't expect Tang Juqing to recover so quickly. He didn't feel any pain at all today, and it seemed like he was going to recover soon. Let's go see Uncle Tang, said Lin Yi. Yin, is the wound on your forehead really healed? At this time, Mrs. Tang walked closer and saw the wound on Tang Yun's forehead. There was only a shallow scar left. Other than that, there was nothing strange. The scar was so shallow that it couldn't be seen anymore. It would probably disappear after some time. Yes. I'm really fine now. Tang Yun said as she looked at Lin Yi shyly and said to her mother. Lil Yi's medical skills are really amazing, Mrs. Tang praised. She looked at Lin Yi with more and more admiration. She felt that her daughter was really lucky to have met Lin Yi. She wouldn't have to worry for the rest of her life. And his family's life would gradually get better. Mrs. Tang also saw the news. The collapse of Qibing skyscraper was on TV. Although they didn't say the reason and only said that the quality of the construction wasn't up to standard, Mrs. Tang knew that things weren't that simple. How could it be so coincidental? Lin Yi just got his revenge on Zhao Qibing and his skyscraper collapsed because of the quality of the construction. How was that possible? Anyone with a brain would know that it was Lin Yi who collapsed it. At that time, Lin Yi asked Fatty Lai to find a bulldozer, trenching machine, and a demolition team. It would be weird if the skyscraper collapsed by itself. Even if Zhao Qibing was a black-hearted businessman and skimped on materials, he wouldn't skimp on his own office building. One had to know that he had to work in the skyscraper, and the skyscraper was the face of the company. If the quality of the office building wasn't up to standard, how could people buy his company's real estate? But Zhao Qibing had no other choice. In comparison, he couldn't afford to lose face. He would rather swallow his teeth and say that his skyscraper wasn't up to standard than admit that it was Lin Yi who demolished his skyscraper. Mrs. Tang was straightforward. Zhao Qibing demolished his house and Lin Yi went to demolish his skyscraper. He destroyed Tang Yun's face and broke Tang Juqing's legs. Lin Yi did the same, destroying his face and breaking his legs. Mrs. Tang wouldn't have dared to think of this in the past. Those people were rich and powerful. How could her family be their opponent? They suffered losses and had no way out. But it was different now. They had Lin Yi to protect them. Lin Yi followed Mrs. Tang and Tang Yun to Tang Juqing's ward. Tang Juqing was listening to the radio and a rare smile appeared on his face when he saw Lin Yi. He was even more surprised when he saw that his daughter's forehead didn't seem to have any problems. Although Tang Juqing hadn't been to Tang Yun's room after she was admitted to the hospital, he knew how serious her injuries were. He saw his daughter's face covered in blood when they were being carried by the ambulance in front of their house in the shantytown. Chapter 613. Shu is going to die, and it's done. Tang Yun nodded. It's fine now. Lin Yi said that he's here to take a look at your injuries. Okay. Tang Juqing nodded happily. What do you want me to do? Uncle Tang, just lie down and you'll be fine. Lin Yi waved his hand, gesturing for Tang Juqing not to move as he walked over to check on Tang Juqing's injuries. Tang Juqing's broken legs should be able to recover very quickly under the care of Chinese medicine. However, his neurological problems were still the same. That meant that even if Tang Juqing's legs were healed, he would still be limping when he walked. Lin Yi frowned. This wasn't a good sign. Even if Tang Juqing could stand up, if he tried to do rehabilitation training and limped because of the neurological problems, it would affect the recovery of his legs. If he continued walking like this, the newly healed legs might become deformed. Even if his neurological problems were healed in the future, the recovery of his legs would be different, and he would still limp. What's wrong? Lin Yi, is there a problem with my dad's illness? Tang Yun had been paying attention to Lin Yi's expression, and when she saw him frown, her heart skipped a beat. It's a bit troublesome. Lin Yi didn't hide it and explained his thoughts to Tang Yun and Mrs. Tang. He didn't hide it from Tang Juqing, because it wasn't necessary. Then what should we do? Tang Yun was panicking. But Tang Juqing and Mrs. Tang weren't too worried, and Tang Juqing smiled instead. It's fine if he's limping, it's good enough that he can stand up. It's better than lying on the bed, right? Tang Juqing couldn't be blamed for being optimistic. In fact, he had been lying on the bed for so long as he could stand up, he wouldn't care if he was limping or not. Being limping was better than being paralyzed, right? Mrs. Tang had the same thought. She didn't mind when Tang Juqing was paralyzed, so what if he was crippled? Originally, I wanted to wait until the end of the college entrance examination and let you go back with me to see my old man. Then, I would bring back the nerve-stimulating medicine, but now it seems that there is not enough time. Lin Yi said, but it doesn't matter. I will find someone to send it over. How can I do that? Tang Juqing was flattered. Lin Yi had to trouble others for his sake. It's nothing. Lin Yi thought of Gooden, his childhood playmate. He hadn't seen him in a long time, and now wasn't the time for harvest. He should have time. Dad, since Lin Yi said so, then it's settled. Tang Yun saw that her father still wanted to say something, so she spoke first to finalize the matter. Naturally, Tang Yun didn't want her father to become a cripple. Even if she owed Lin Yi a favor, it was her. She owed Lin Yi a lot anyway, so she didn't care anymore. After this small misunderstanding, Tang Yun had thought it through. Repaying a favor with her body was a good way to repay a debt. Since Tang Yun had decided to follow Lin Yi, she could let him do whatever he wanted in the future. Thinking of this, Tang Yun couldn't help but blush. Yeah, old Tang, it's Lin Yi's sincerity. Don't say anything. Mrs. Tang didn't care about her husband being crippled, but she still hoped that her husband could be like a normal person. Lin Yi took out his phone and wanted to call Gooden, but the moment he took it out, his phone rang. Lin Yi looked at the caller ID. It was Meng Yao. Yushu's stomach was round, and she couldn't get up from the sofa. At first, it was a little uncomfortable, but it was bearable. But after a while, it became more and more uncomfortable. Yao Yao, my stomach is so uncomfortable. Why is it so big? Am I pregnant? I'm so disgusted. Yushu laid on the sofa and whimpered weakly. How can you get pregnant from eating? Don't say that. Meng Yao was watching TV when she heard Shu's whining. She turned off the TV and walked over. Yao Yao, if you can get pregnant from drinking soda, why can't I get pregnant from eating? There's probably Shield Bro's saliva in it. Yushu said with a pale face. Alright, stop it. Meng Yao couldn't help but feel embarrassed when the past was brought up. Did you eat too much? Do you want to go to the washroom? I haven't even digested it yet, how am I supposed to go? It's so uncomfortable. Yushu felt that her stomach was full and disgusting. In short, it was a mess. Wait, I'll go get some digestive pills for you. Meng Yao was regretting her actions after seeing Yushu's discomfort. She shouldn't have let her emotions get the better of her. She didn't know if a person could die from eating too much, but since there was the phrase, die from eating too much, it was probably possible, right? Meng Yao panicked even more at the thought. She quickly went to get the pills. I'm not eating, I can't eat anymore. I'll explode if I eat anymore. Yushu couldn't eat anymore. Then what should we do? Meng Yao didn't know what to do. I'm going to die. I'm going to die again. I don't want to die. Yushu felt that she was really unlucky. She'd almost died 2 days ago, and now she was going to die again. Yao Yao, why'd you do this to me? I'm not trying to steal Shield Bro from you. I told you I'd be the second wife. You still want to get rid of me. Yushu felt really unlucky. She'd almost died 2 days ago, and now she was going to die again. Why would I do this to you? Meng Yao didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Yushu's words. I don't like Lin Yi at all, why would I steal from you? I didn't want him to bring food for Tang Yun, that's why I made you eat all of it. Right, Lin Yi, you. Hang in there, I'll call Lin Yi. Meng Yao heard Yushu's words and immediately thought of Lin Yi. How could she forget about him? He should have a way to save Shu, right? Lin Yi picked up Ming Yao's call and the miss screamed, "Lin Yi, where are you? Come back quickly, Shu can't hold on anymore." Wah! What did you say? Lin Yi froze. Shu can't hold on anymore. What did she mean? Shu ate too much, she can't hold on anymore, she's going to die, come back quickly. Meng Yao said urgently. Okay, I'll go back now, Lin Yi sighed helplessly and hung up. Can't hold on anymore. Then why did she eat so much? She even ate Tang Yun's portion. Chapter 614. Yao Yao sis wants to assassinate me. Yeah, Yushu ate too much. I heard that she's about to die from overeating. I'll go back and check. Lin Yi sweated as he talked about it. What was going on? There were people who could die from overeating in this day and age. Ah. Tang Yun covered her mouth in surprise. She couldn't believe it. Did you eat too much? Overeating. Yeah, but it's not impossible for something like this to happen to Yushu. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. I'll go back first. Right, I've already talked to Dean Qin about it. You guys can stay in the hospital for now. Otherwise, you won't have a place to stay after you leave the hospital. Director Qin of the hospital knew Lin Yi by now, and he knew that Lin Yi had a special relationship with Guan Shuamin. Since Lin Yi had spoken up, Tang Yun and Tang Juqing could stay in the hospital even if they were discharged. It wasn't like Lin Yi didn't want to pay up anyways. He had already paid a huge deposit. There was no need for Dean Qin to kick them out. Mrs. Tang was a little annoyed at the mention of this. She was discussing with Tang Juqing whether or not they should buy a house first. The houses in Shantytown had all collapsed and were uninhabitable. Fortunately, there was nothing valuable in them. The TV and refrigerator were bought when they got married. They were more than 10 years old and had long been worn out. It didn't matter if they were broken. As for furniture, there wasn't much. But since Lin Yi had arranged for them to stay in the hospital, they didn't have to rush to buy a house. At least they had to observe the market first. They couldn't just blindly buy a house. He didn't think it was possible for Yushu to be stuffed to death, but he still drove back to the villa as fast as he could. He saw Yushu lying on the sofa, moaning non-stop, with Meng Yao beside her, holding her hand and comforting her. Yao Yao sis, I really can't take it anymore. Why isn't Shield Bro here yet? Yushu cried. Soon. That damn Lin Yi, he's staying at Tang Yun's place and doesn't want to leave. I don't know what's so good about Tang Yun, she's so much worse than our Shu. Meng Yao complained. Cough, cough. Lin Yi broke out in a cold sweat and coughed twice. Although Tang Yun wasn't weaker than Yushu, the key was Yushu's identity. Would Lin Yi dare to touch her? She was eldest Miss' best friend. How could there be such a comparison? Lin Yi thought to himself, if you give Yushu to me as my wife, I'll definitely bring her with me every day. Meng Yao heard Lin Yi's coughing, and turned back to see Lin Yi. You still know to come back. Look, Shu is about to die, go save her. Lin Yi looked at Yushu on the sofa, relieved to see that she wasn't dead yet. He frowned when he saw the bulging stomach, wondering if there was a perforation. Shield Bro, you're finally back, sob sob. Yushu started crying, I feel so bad, Yao Yao sis wants to assassinate me, no one wants to assassinate you, are you hallucinating? Lin Yi turned to Meng Yao, confused. Why would Yushu say that she wanted to assassinate her? Could it be that Yushu ate some poisonous food and was hallucinating? Meng Yao blushed, hurry up and save her, don't ask so much. Okay. Lin Yi nodded, picked up Yushu, and flipped her over. Her head was facing the sofa, and he said to Meng Yao, help me open her mouth, don't close it. Oh, okay. Meng Yao didn't dare to delay and quickly opened Yushu's mouth. Ah! Yushu couldn't help but cry out in pain. She thought to herself, why are you and Shield Bro trying to kill me? Are you trying to open my mouth and pull out my tongue? But she couldn't speak. What's your name? Meng Yao felt that Yushu's voice was similar to a certain voice, and she couldn't help but glare at her. Ah! Yushu couldn't speak with her mouth covered, and she couldn't make any sound other than oh. Hold it, it'll be fine soon. Lin Yi took a chopstick from the kitchen and started poking at Yushu's throat. Ah! Yushu felt a wave of nausea, and she finally vomited after being poked by Lin Yi. She hadn't digested her lunch yet, and she vomited it all over the floor, but Meng Yao's hands were all over it. The miss wasn't disgusted at all, but looked at Yushu with concern instead. Shu, how do you feel? Yushu started vomiting, and it didn't stop. She threw up almost everything in her stomach. Woo, it's so uncomfortable, but it's much better now. Yushu said after she was done vomiting. That's good, I was scared to death. Meng Yao was scared as well. What if Yushu really died from overeating? It's not a big deal, I just had nothing better to do. Lin Yi shook his head. You can't eat that much, why did you still eat? Yao Yao made me eat. Yushu felt wronged, and she almost died. How could she not feel wronged? Why did you make her eat so much? Lin Yi was a little pissed. This wasn't a joke, and it was fortunate that she was fine. Meng Yao didn't expect Lin Yi to question her with a straight face, but Meng Yao was in the wrong, and she couldn't refute. Yao Yao didn't want you to bring food for Tang Yun, so she made me eat it all. Yushu said honestly. Lin Yi shook his head, speechless. It was pretty much what he expected, these two girls were too good at messing around. Shu, stop it. Meng Yao was a little embarrassed. You're very weak, go back to your room and rest. Oh. Yushu felt a little weak after hearing Meng Yao's words. I can't walk, Yao Yao. Meng Yao wanted to carry Yushu upstairs, but she couldn't carry her. She hesitated and turned to Lin Yi, carry her upstairs. Upstairs. Can I? Lin Yi pointed upstairs. Meng Yao was the one who told him firmly not to go upstairs when he first came. I'll allow this exception, Meng Yao said, just this once. There's General Wei Wu. Lin Yi looked at the staircase, and General Wei Wu was still squatting there. Lin Yi didn't want Meng Yao to find out that he wasn't afraid of General Wei Wu, otherwise he wouldn't be able to explain himself if he lost something upstairs. But when he was about to leave, he said to Lin Yi, if there's a chance, go and get in touch with House Chu's old man. House Chu's old man? Uncle Chu? Or Uncle Chu's father? Lin Yi asked, slightly startled. His father. Old Lin didn't beat around the bush with Lin Yi. If there's a chance, get in touch with him. If there's no chance, don't create one. There will always be a chance. Ah. Lin Yi listened to old Lin's words. Why did it sound so weird? Was it a zen? Was there a hidden meaning behind it? But Lin Yi remembered it in his heart. Nothing. Old Lin smiled faintly. Kid, you didn't call me out of the blue just to report something, did you? I remember that you don't have the habit of reporting to me unless there's something important. There is indeed something. Lin Yi said, Old man, do you still have the medicine that stimulates the nerves when I trained? I think there's some left. Why, do you need it? Old Lin asked. Yes, I do. I have 2 friends with mental problems, Lin Yi said, or you can give me the recipe and I'll make some myself. Lin Yi hadn't studied this medicine before because it wasn't useful to Lin Yi, and it was hard to make. If you're making it, there are probably a few ingredients that aren't easy to get. I planted them myself, old Lin said. I have some finished medicine here. If you want to use it, you can come and get it. I'll ask Herr Gooden to send it over, Lin Yi said. I'll call him later. That's fine. Old Lin wasn't stingy with these things, because they weren't that important. When he gave it to Lin Yi to train, he made a whole vat of it. Lin Yi wanted to send it over by courier, but this was a serious matter. Lin Yi was worried that something might go wrong, so he might as well ask Herr Gooden to send it over. Lin Yi missed this childhood friend as well. All these years, Lin Yi didn't have a fixed place to stay. Other than doing missions, he didn't have a place to stay. Every time he went back, Herr Gooden would listen to Lin Yi talk about the outside world. He wished that he could go out, but Lin Yi never had the chance to bring him out. Herr Gooden's family was very poor. In fact, the village that Lin Yi lived in wasn't rich at all. The only place that could be considered rich was the village head's family, with a fish pond. There was also Widow Wang's family at the entrance of the village, with a snack bar and grocery store. Then there was Lin Yi's family. Of course, Lin Yi's family's source of income came from Lin Yi's straw hats and sandals. Lin Yi's hands and feet were nimble, and he worked fast. Although many people in the village did this, Lin Yi's daily output was 4 to 5 times that of these people. How could he not be rich? In fact, this so-called rich was just being able to buy a laptop and eat at Widow Wang's snack bar. Lin Yi didn't know where all the money from all those missions went, but the old man didn't mention it, and Lin Yi didn't mention it. They weren't father and son, but they were closer than father and son, and Lin Yi didn't mind. Comparatively speaking, Herr Gooden's family was very poor. They relied on farming for a living, and they didn't even have a phone. Herr Gooden always wanted to leave the mountains and see the outside world, and Lin Yi promised him that he would bring him to see the world. Chapter 6:16. Childhood friends. Lin Yi called Widow Wang's house at the entrance of the village. Hello. Star West Village, who are you looking for? Widow Wang's village accent came through the phone. Aunt Wang, I'm old Lin's Lil Yi. Can you call Herr Gooden for me? Lin Yi said. Ah. Old Lin's Lil Yi. Wait here, I'll go get him now. Widow Wang replied and put down the phone. Star West Village wasn't big, and basically everyone knew each other. Everyone bought things from Widow Wang, so Widow Wang was more than happy to have people come to her place to answer the phone. Widow Wang's shop was right next to the village, and there was a loudspeaker inside. In the village, you basically had to shout to find someone. The loudspeaker could even wake someone up in the middle of their sleep. Herr Gooden, it's Aunt Wang. Come and answer the phone. Widow Wang yelled through the loudspeaker and returned to the shop. Not long after, a man as strong as a bull ran into the shop. He was Herr Gooden, 185 m tall. He stood in front of the shop like a wall. Aunt Wang, my phone. Herr Gooden ran a kilometer away from home, but his face wasn't red, and his heart wasn't racing. He wasn't even out of breath. One look and you could tell that his body wasn't normal. It's Lil E. Hurry up, it's a long-distance call. It's very expensive. Widow Wang pointed at the phone on the table. Lin Yi bro. Herr Gooden rubbed his hands together excitedly when he heard Lin Yi's name. I'm Herr Gooden. Ah. Herr Gooden, Lin Yi smiled. Are things busy at home? It's good. We planted the seeds a while ago, and now they're weeding and fertilizing. We're just waiting for the autumn harvest. We'll probably have a good harvest this year. Herr Gooden said. Not bad. Do you have a girlfriend? Lin Yi asked with a smile. Who'd like me? Gooden smiled. My family's so poor, and I don't look good. I'll be a bachelor for the rest of my life. If you have nothing to do during this period, come to my house. My old man has my address. You can help me bring some things over. It's a good opportunity to see the world, Lin Yi said with a smile. Aw. Really? That's great. Gooden heard that Lin Yi wanted him to go to a big city and see the world, and he couldn't be happier. Then I'll leave after finishing the farm work at home. But Lin Yi bro, we haven't had the harvest yet, we don't have any travel expenses. Gooden and Lin Yi grew up together, so there was nothing to be embarrassed about. No money was no money, it wasn't shameful. Ha, my old man will help you prepare the travel expenses. If you need anything, just tell me before you leave, Lin Yi smiled. You don't have to be so polite with me. Of course, you're my Lin Yi bro, of course I won't be polite. Gooden was like this since he was young. Other than his dad, he only listened to Lin Yi. So in his eyes, Lin Yi and his dad were on the same level. It was natural for Lin Yi to give him money. Ha! Lin Yi smiled. He didn't know how many years it had been since he played with Gooden. The days of catching fish and prawns together were long gone. Even after he hung up, Lin Yi was still immersed in his memories. There were 3 times in his life when he was the happiest. The first time was when he was young. At that time, he hadn't gone on a mission yet. He was still learning medicine from his old man, training his body. He didn't have many missions a day, and when he was free, he would catch fish and prawns with Gooden. It was a very carefree life. The second time was in the training camp, with his teammates. He was the captain of the team, and he brought the other 6 teammates to overcome all obstacles and stand out. That time was hard and tiring, but it was also the most fulfilling. It seemed tense, but there wasn't the danger of a real mission. There was only the trust and friendship between teammates. Second brother, third brother, fourth brother, fifth brother, sixth brother, and seventh brother, where are you now? Are you doing well? Are you busy with missions all over the world? Lin Yi shook his head. His teammates had gone their separate ways after leaving the training camp, and he hadn't seen each other since. The third time was when Lin Yi was in Songshan. Although he didn't know who his enemies were, and there were always some small troubles, these days of freedom made Lin Yi really happy. He hoped that it would never end. Of course, other than these 3 happy times, Lin Yi also had a lot of painful times. One of them wasn't painful, but at least it was painful and happy at the same time. It was also a rare time. It was also during that time that he met Yang Huijuan, Armadillo, and Ning. It was also because of Ning that this time was forcefully erased from Lin Yi's memory. It was also the reason why Lin Yi chose to run away when he first met Yang Huijuan. Until now, Lin Yi didn't know why he rejected Ning so decisively. Was it because of the huge power behind her, or was it because he couldn't give her a stable life? Lin Yi never thought that he would retire one day, and he didn't think that he would retire at such a young age. Lin Yi didn't know what his old man was thinking. He suddenly brought him to Songshan to do a special mission that would give him a lifetime's worth of food. This was a huge deal. Ling Shan flipped through the case files on her desk. The kidney trafficking organization seemed to have been a lot more restrained recently. Ever since the transit station was destroyed, they seemed to have become a lot more careful. However, they didn't stop their crimes because they moved their targets and locations to the outskirts of the city. In this week, there were already 2 cases of widowed farmers being murdered. It was the same method, but the locations were more unpredictable. One of the 2 victims was a villager from Yazi village in the east of the city, and the other was a villager from Shinbu village in the west. One in the east and one in the west, tens of kilometers away from each other. There was no pattern at all. Even if they sent out the police force to keep watch, it was impossible to cover the hundreds of villages around the city with police officers. Putting aside the fact that the police force was not enough, even if it was enough, they couldn't possibly stop the entire police station and keep watch over the kidney trafficking organization, right? Lingshan felt like a coward. She'd cracked a couple of big cases since she'd been appointed, and she'd received praise and recognition from the leaders of the province, but she knew what was going on. She didn't have the face to say how she'd cracked the cases. Chapter 617. Lingshan's pursuer. It wasn't that Lingshan was a coward, it was just that she had arrived at the right time. Big cases kept popping up as soon as she took over. When Huijuan was the captain, there were a few criminal groups as well, but they were all gangsters, bag robbers, thieves, and the like. These cases were big, but they weren't as complicated as they were now. Lingshan, on the other hand, was a special forces soldier, and she had no place to use her skills. How could she not be frustrated? When Lingshan came back, she was filled with ambition and wanted to show off her ambitions. Her dream of fighting with the gangster and taking him down didn't come true. In fact, it wasn't that she didn't have the chance to fight with the gangster, and there were quite a few of them, but how many of them could Lingshan meet by herself? Even if she fought with criminals, how many strong ones were there? How many criminals could have the strength of a golden class? Lingshan was a golden class mid-phase, and even in House Song, one of the 4 noble houses, she was the leader of the younger generation. If she wanted criminals to have golden class strength, she wouldn't need to be a criminal anymore. She could just be a bodyguard of some rich man and earn a lot. Why would she need to rob? What a headache. Why did these criminals keep coming in waves? Why did they have to do it in Songshan? Before the kidney trafficking organization appeared, Songshan did have an underground organ trade market, but because it was an underground trade, and it was done after both parties agreed on the price, no one reported it to the police. As long as these people didn't cross the line, Lingshan wouldn't interfere. She couldn't do anything about it. But now, they were kidnapping people and selling their kidneys, she couldn't just ignore it. But these people seemed to have a very strict organization, and it wasn't easy to take them out at once. It was already very difficult to destroy just one lair. The main problem was that these people had doctors and operating tables in their hands, and they didn't need to go through the proper medical system or clinics. The kidneys weren't sold locally either, and according to Lingshan's understanding, there hadn't been a single kidney transplant patient that was bought from this group. Of course, there were people who bought kidneys from the black market, but they also went through unscrupulous intermediaries. Then, they negotiated the price with the kidney seller in private, and the kidney transplant surgery was carried out in a regular hospital. The unscrupulous intermediaries only received an intermediary fee of 10 to 20,000 yuan. They had gotten rid of quite a few of these black intermediaries, but they were all small fries. They were of no help to the progress of the case. Lingshan's phone rang. Lingshan's ringtone wasn't like those young men and women's, it was the most common default ringtone. It also suited her profession and personality, being more mature. Hello, I'm Lingshan from the Criminal Investigation Team. Lingshan answered the phone out of habit. It was an unknown number, and she didn't have a contact book. Lingshan. A rough male voice sounded from the other side of the phone. I'm Chen Yutian. Oh. Chen Yutian. Lingshan paused, frowning imperceptibly. What's wrong? Chen Yutian smiled bitterly after hearing the coldness in Lingshan's voice. Lingshan, I'm going back to Songshan tomorrow. I have a mission. Can we have a meal together? I'm busy with the case, I don't have time. Lingshan rejected Yutian's suggestion. I see. Yutian sighed. Can we meet once? I really do have a case. Is there something important that you want to talk to me about? If not, I don't want to delay my work. Ling Shan said faintly. Can't we meet if there's nothing important? We're old friends, childhood sweethearts. You can't just not give me face, can you? Yutian said helplessly. Chen Yutian, please watch your words. It's true that we're old friends, but childhood sweethearts are out of the question. Ling Shan corrected him. Chen Yutian, I know what you're thinking. It's not that I'm not giving you a chance, it's your own fault. Who can you blame? Ling Shan, aren't you just making things difficult for me? You're one of the best in the younger generation of the noble houses, and you're already golden class mid-phase. I just broke through, when will I ever catch up to you? Yutian smiled bitterly. You know what I'm like. I've always wanted to be strong since I was young, and my man has to be stronger than me. Otherwise, do you think he'll have a good life? Ling Shan couldn't help but feel proud. Chen Yutian, I gave you a chance to challenge me, but you didn't take it. I even said that you can challenge me anytime before I have a boyfriend. If you're here to challenge me, I can meet you. If not, then I'm sorry, I'm not free. Ling Shan, as far as I know, other than House Yu, Wu Qintian from House Wu is also a golden class early phase. Are you saying that you won't marry if there's no one stronger than you? Yutian couldn't help but ask. How do you know that there aren't any masters other than the noble houses? Ling Shan asked back. She didn't know why, but Ling Shan suddenly thought of Lin Yi. She didn't know where that guy got his kung fu from, but why was he so strong? I don't seem to be his opponent. Moreover, I still have to humble myself and pretend to be Miss Brain Dead in front of him. He's really as abominable as he can be. But she was in his hands, unable to fight back. Was this still her personality? She was the Miss of House Song, and she was going to be taken advantage of by him. This was too humiliating. And so, Ling Shan decided not to think about him. She couldn't think about him, because thinking about him made her angry. Yutian was speechless. He didn't dare say that there weren't any masters outside of the noble houses, because he knew that there were masters outside of the noble houses. But since Ling Shan didn't want to see him, there was no point in saying anything. Asking Yutian to challenge Ling Shan now was the same as asking for a beating. He couldn't afford to lose that face. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.